All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Chair League. I am your host, Jason, bringing you an awesome match here. It is going to be Heroes of the Frat versus Cruise Control, and this is going to be your Season 3, Division 3 Finals matchup. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'm joined once again by my good friend and teammate, Reaper of War. Thanks for joining me, man.
I'm excited, Jay. It's an honor, and I'm glad to be casting the finals here with you. Between Heroes of the Frat and Cruise Control. It's going to be a good one on Dragonshire, I hope.
Yeah, game one of this best of five series is going to be played out here on Dragonshire, and we have already started the draft here. Both of these teams ready to go. A little bit of a this is indeed the final Berserk, absolutely. So we are going to see ETC and Malfurion are going to be banned out here. Pretty interesting prioritization with the shakeup of Varian being thrown in the mix here. We'll have to see how teams decide to prioritize this new kind of banning and drafting scenarios with Samuru now being a little bit nerfed, a little bit less viable than he used to be. Malfurion also has seen a few little debuffs to bring him back down to the level of a mere mortal. But we do see Falstad's going to be the first pickup. So right away, Heroes of the Frat are going to prioritize that global priority hero in Falstad being able to change lanes very quickly to be able to affect these different turn-in locations, the different shrines, to be able to try to get that Dragon Knight.
And I mean, seeing ETC ban, like, you're not getting what you need out of Mosh Pit anymore. It's easily interrupted, so you're seeing a lot more stage dive with him, which is pretty crazy.
And we will see,
and that global presence from him.
Yeah, and we'll see the return pickup here of global presence with Brightwing coming out for Cruise Control. So they're going to go ahead pick up not only their support, but a very good hero on this map. Also has the ability to come help out a teammate picking up those shrines with that phase shift in, and Muradin is going to be the pickup. So after the ETC ban coming out from Heroes of the Frat, they're going to go ahead and monopolize that big, beefy frontline tank position by getting Muradin now.
And I mean, if they want to rotate mid and bottom, that's definitely what they'll do. They got the strong rotation team started for it already.
And so we'll have to see what two heroes that Heroes of the Frat want to pick up here. They've got a lot of really good options still on the table. There we go, and it is going to be Varian. So we are going to see Varian coming out right away here on Dragonshire. No big surprise. He is believed to be a pretty strong hero. I don't think he's the most broken hero we've seen on an initial launch. But with those slows and the CC control that he gives, he's a really hard hero to have to go against. He sticks to players like none other in Heroes of the Storm, even worse than Illidan. And not only that, but he's also very versatile. You can do a lot of different things with him.
And he's really good at locking down characters. And later on, he gets the banner. He can decide to do damage reduction for the whole team, attack speed. It's just crazy, like the different builds he can do with Varian. So it's interesting to see him out so much, or out already in the tournaments. But yeah, like you said, he's not too overpowered. And if you play around him, he is a good character.
So we are going to see the Sylvanas pickup as well here from Heroes of the Frat. So going to go ahead and prioritize that good siege damage that Sylvanas brings to the table. She's also very good at aiding in the push of one of these Dragon Knights. She's able to shut down those towers, which is very vital for the concept of being able to push in when you get that big map objective. One of these maps that she's just very valuable on with the big pushing map objectives. And the Gazlo ban coming out, a very interesting ban from Cruise Control. The Ariel ban out here, not a huge surprise from Heroes of the Frat. Varian is one of those heroes that has been paired with Ariel very well, especially after Varian gets that level 10. If he does decide to go with that dual-bladed sword, he can be very sustainy, and Ariel can really enable him to be able to be in the middle of those fights and just stay alive forever. Truly one of the most annoying things in the game right now, but they are going to go ahead and ban that out. But Gazlo, the ban out here, that's a very interesting ban, Reaper. You don't see Gazlo thrown out of the table very often.
And I mean, that odd time you will see Gazlo come out on some of these maps, like placing turrets and protecting the points. And, some players got a knack for him and they play him very well. But, with not much for escapes beside his fast feet, yeah, it'd be interesting. They must know something we don't, that's for sure.
Yeah, I would agree. I'd say that's definitely that might be a respect ban, but we are going to see Gul'dan and Tychus picked up here. So we've got the three backliners for the side of Cruise Control. Likely going to see a Bruiser pickup coming up for that last pick, but they have a lot of different options. They've also picked up that Tychus so that they don't have to worry about the double frontline coming out from Heroes of the Frat. Varian is not usually played as a solo tank, so they are kind of anticipating that this is going to be a healer and another frontline tank pickup for the side of Heroes of the Frat.
And it was almost like a checkmate for Cruise Control. They drop out the Myrna and Brightwing to start. They kind of hide their lineup. So they've already got a good rotate comp. And then they throw Tychus in the mix. And, I mean, they see the Varian. And like you said, they're probably going to pick up the double tank because they're not going to solo tank the Varian for sure. So, a solid play by Cruise Control to bait them into that.
The other thing I really like about Cruise Control's draft here is that they've monopolized the support pickups here. They pick up Brightwing after banning Malfurion. They ban out Ariel, which is the other really, really strong healer in the format right now. And that doesn't leave a whole lot of other really, really strong supports in the game. It's pretty much just those three. So that is going to force them into a Rhaegar pick, which is another hero that can synergize pretty well with Varian with that ancestral healing to be able to keep him in those fights very deep in the fray. But ultimately, Rhaegar is well believed to be one of the lowest healers in the game right now. Just has suffered nerf after nerf after nerf, and he's been put down back into the ground where he was before his rework. But that ancestral, if used correctly, is definitely something that can be game changing. And one more pickup here. You would think it'd be a frontliner. Any guesses for Heroes of the Frat? Oh, there it is. It is going to be Johanna. So they're going full tank mode.
And I mean, with the Rhaegar, he's got to be hitting those ancestrals dead on. Like, he needs to capitalize on that. His slow totems, like without that, he's just a failed hero as of now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, his heals are not super strong. He does have some sustain with that chain heal, but it's just it's not as powerful as it used to be. The run speed nerf also hurts quite a lot. And just in general, not being able to ancestral himself anymore. The only support player that can't use that ult on themselves, he just gets focused, and it's all about positioning and timing. You're right. He's pretty much just that one trick pony now, is that ancestral. So we'll have to see if that can change the course of things. But they're going to go with another percentage-based damage hero in Leoric, so they are looking to exploit the double tank on the other side here from Heroes of the Frat. That is completely what this comp is meant to do.
And Leoric is great for clearing waves too, especially on Dragonshire. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm guessing they're probably going to solo lane Gul'dan and probably mid and bottom rotate with the other four. But I mean, they got a strong rotate comp. We'll see if they use it and utilize it properly.
Yeah, both teams do have that double tank frontline comp, and you're right. I think a slight wave clear advantage over to the side of Cruise Control. Gul'dan, one of the best wave clear heroes in the game. Leoric also definitely in that category, but there's some decent wave clear over on the side of Heroes of the Frat as well. Varian's definitely got a decent wave clear with that Q. Sylvanas, of course, one of, if not the best wave clear hero in the game if you build her that direction. Rhaegar actually also has surprisingly good wave clear with that lightning shield, and then Johanna is probably the best wave clear tank in the game. So a lot of vision granted on this map. A lot of shrine presence, I think, for both of these teams as well. Double tank, the thing that gives you is the ability to really be able to capture and hold down those shrines at the top and bottom of the map. And then when you do finally collapse, you got to have the pressure to be able to push into the enemy team, to zone them out, to try and get that Dragon Knight. And still have the capability of winning the team fight. I think both of these teams have done a nice job of picking up teams that can do that. It's going to be more about positioning and personal play. I don't feel like anybody hard won this draft, though I do think Cruise Control has done a little bit more to counter draft Heroes of the Frat here.
I'm liking the draft quite a bit. I'm going to give the draft to Cruise Control. I mean, they didn't get the stronger of the globals because Brightwing, she needs somebody to go to, and Falstad, he can just fly wherever he wants. It's like he's on like the ultimate vacation all the time.
Absolutely. So we do have everybody
wherever he wants
in game, and we are loading in here to Dragonshire. This is going to be the first of this best of 5 series for the Division 3 Season 3 playoff finals. Heroes of the Frat versus Cruise Control. I can't wait to see what these guys are ready to break out for us here, Reaper. This is going to be one heck of a series.
And this is what you wait for. This is the best part of the tournament. I mean, you go through the other teams. Sure, the games are fun, but this is where you see everybody pulling out all the stops to grab the win, the big win.
Yeah, worth noting that Heroes of the Frat, I would say, is definitely the favored team here of these two teams. Was the #1 seed coming out into the playoffs and has been able to maintain that position throughout the playoffs. But Cruise Control has taken down a couple of very nice teams from their 6th seed position at the beginning of the tournament, able to defeat the 3rd-ranked team as well in that quest to get to the finals here. So, yeah, definitely some T-shirts are going to be going out, as Super Jova said. Going to get some of those sweet, sweet Chair League T-shirts for these guys. But we are loaded in here to Dragonshire. Game 1 on the left. It is going to be Heroes of the Frat. We're going to have Marvin is going to be playing Johanna. Berticus is going to be playing that brand new hero variant. Should be interesting to see what he's got. Team captain Kyle Searat has come back in from wherever he was having his power outage, and he's going to be playing. Sylvanas.
10 seconds.
Stadat is going to be playing Falstad, and Balanan is going to be playing Rhaegar.
2.
And on the red side, we're going to have Sky7 playing Murden, Jitty playing Tychus, Acros playing Brightwing, Blunderbuss playing Leoric, and Oreo Blaster playing Golden.
So right away, we're going to see the cheese coming out in a big, big way here from Heroes of the Frat. They do go ahead and go up. They are going to see that it is going to be Leoric is going to fend that off, and that is going to proc the full retreat mode here from the side of Heroes of the Frat. They're going to go ahead and split out to lanes.
It was a nice quick counter. They used their global to the best of their power, and they stopped that push, and that's a big thing. You can grab some big experience off those towers grabs if you don't rotate quick enough on that.
And right away, we see the 4-man rotate coming out here, at least 3-man. They go down to the bottom, and they're going to use a little bit more of that Sylvanas exploitation here in the bottom, testing out Cruise Control, trying to see if they've got the ability to rotate and counter these quick rotations coming in here.
And they're just trying to force them out of lanes is what they're trying to do. I expected more of a rotate team from them, but it looks like they're failing to do so.
Hurry, activate the shrine.
With their strong comp, I don't see why they wouldn't want to rotate on them.
Right away, we do see the shrines coming up here. Bottom is going to be prioritized by Heroes of the Frat. They go ahead and pick that up. Blunderbuss is going to be able to beat Kyle C up in that top lane to be able to capture the top. So both teams got one to start off here. Nothing too crazy to worry about for either side. Both teams doing a nice job of soaking right now. It does look like Cruise Control for the moment is going to go ahead and cap both of these shrines. Marvin's got something to say about that. But ultimately, you know, you do got a lot of damage coming out from Jitty on that backside with that percentage-based damage from Tychus. It does look like they are going to force the issue here trying to get this back, though. They do have Falstad Brightwing in the mid, so either one could actually come down here. But Marvin getting very, very low. Jitty doing a nice job along with Oreo Blaster there, being able to put a lot of pressure to be able to push them off. And for now, they're going to hold both of these shrines.
And they were showing a lot of dominance without their Brightwing. I mean, they have Rhaegar down there. Of course, they have more damage, but the Brightwing wasn't to show in the fight. Not like they needed her very much.
Not to mention that Brightwing is also winning that 1v1 against Falstad. The health is very, very low in the mid there. Every member of Heroes of the Frat actually pretty low on health right now, and we're actually going to have to see Sadat is going to have to step out here to get some heals, and it does look like they're going to have the opportunity, but Sylvanas is going to be able to cap in that top lane, and actually the bottom lane as well interrupted there for the moment. So it does look like they're going to be able to block, at least for now.
And it's interesting. They're just keeping Brightwing in for the soak, not really bringing him in yet. You do see Falstaff fly bottom, and it looks like he's cut off Murden, but he's in a dangerous position. Gul'dan putting out the damage, Brightwing coming up, pushing them in a little bit, and they're going to back off. They're going to respect that.
A ton of damage coming in there from Oreo Blaster. Gul'dan seeming to be a more relevant part of the meta every day. I see a lot more Gul'dan play lately, and there's a reason. There's a lot more heroes out there, a lot more players that are getting this hero down, and getting how incredibly strong the damage can be even early game, even before those corruption stacks start to really get together.
And I mean, he's very strong because he's got that sustain. He can kill minions for health. He's got the Hellstone. His corruption burst strong. But you see Falstad flying top to try and stop Sylvanas. And I think Leoric's going to get caught out here. His health is falling really low. Rhaegar comes in and eats him. And that is it for Leoric. He'll be on his death timer, 15 seconds.
And that is going to come back much, much quicker than you'd normally see out of a normal hero. Of course, Leoric has the ability to drain life when he is in that dead state and come back more quickly. But that is first blood going over to Heroes of the Frat. Level 7 before we even see a single player falling here. Even then, it is just the Leoric with the obvious death mechanic. So both of these teams playing very cautiously, very passively right now, but we do see that Cruise Control has gotten a serious advantage in this bottom lane. The entire front wall is already gone here, Reaper.
And Leoric's getting pushed in at top, and he barely escapes with his life. And I mean, yeah, they're doing a great job bottom, but Leoric, nothing he can do up top against that three-man wrecking crew right now.
Yeah, it does look like right now Cruise Control is going to leave these two out on an island and take advantage elsewhere as they continue to push in to that bottom lane. But now the top lane, to the credit of Heroes of the Frat, they have responded and they've gotten a front wall of their own, and they're starting to push in towards the well and this fort.
And that's the thing, if you're not winning a fight somewhere else, it's better to go for the trade than not get nothing at all, and they're utilizing that very well.
Yeah, it usually will take longer to actually rotate and try to get an advantage back in that lane, but they are going to see Falstad flying in. Nice Stormbolt there by Sky7 to be able to help Oreo Blaster get out of that situation. And they're going to be able to back off here without taking too much heat from being pushed in so far.
And Gul'dan, he's just going to heal up quick, eat his minions, maybe take his health stone. I'm not sure if he picked it up or not, but I love where Gul'dan's at. I loved him when he comes out, and he's a very solid hero.
Jitty is going to have an opportunity here, but of course Marvin is going to be able to deny that. Johanna, one of the best denial heroes in the game in terms of being able to interrupt these casts, but a ton of damage coming out on them here. Jitty able to get a ton of damage in along with that polymorph and Muradin in there getting a lot of damage, and they are going to get the first Dragon Knight of the game going over to Cruise Control. Right away they are going to start this push into the mid with it, as they do have 3 members here being able to support it, but it is going to be a 4-man response as they are going to send Varian to try and clean up that bottom, but the fort is going to go down before they have an opportunity to do that. So already the first fort of the game also going over to Cruise Control, and they are going to have the full 5-man response as they're trying to protect this mid fort from being the second fort to fall on their side.
And they used the Dragon Knight to the best of their abilities. If you notice, like, he's got a long timer on him. If you just charge him in, he gets blown up instantly. Let the waves come in. Let your backup get there. You know, let the minions soak the damage. Let some of your people soak the damage, and you get more out of them.
Yeah, the Dragonite itself does have a lot of wave clear, and you see a lot of not getting that full timer out. And so we do see them going ahead and do this, but we are going to see the wall coming in. It is going to catch out Rhaegar as the full jump in here from Sky 7, able to get in there and get a lot of damage out. The fear coming out from Gul'dan, Oreo Blaster, and Jitty is going to be able to rotate in from the bottom and finish off those 2 kills. And as it is a 2 for 0 here, the gust from Sadat is going to be enough to push them back here for the moment, but that is a very good exchange there and response from Cruise Control as a little bit too greedy for the side of Heroes of the Frat going after that top lane.
And it was a great rotation in from Jitty. A solid Horrify, but the thing with Horrify is you never know what direction they're going to run. So he definitely did a good job coming up. Good awareness there, rotating up and clearing out Sylvanas and Rhaegar.
Yeah, level 10s have come out here. Pretty standard pickups across the board for Heroes of the Frat. They do decide to go with that double sword for Varian, so he's going to have some extra sustainability and some extra sustained damage. Going to be a little bit better at taking camps. Going to be a little bit more survivability in the middle of those team fights. But ultimately, it's Control City over for the side of Cruise Control with that wall in.
Shrines are gathering.
That Entomb from Leoric, as well as Horrify from Gul'dan. And we do see Varian being caught out in that bottom lane. A nice rotation from Cruise Control. They caught Varian trying to get that bottom camp by himself, and he is going to pay the ultimate price as he is going to be sent back to the Nexus, to his team's Hall of Storms, and it looks like Marvin might be following, but the Ancestral is able to connect there along with the Wailing Arrow to try and peel for him. The Draken Laser Drill goes down, but that's not going to be catching anybody out here, and maybe a little aggressive with that Laser Drill, but they do a nice job of zoning them off here. And level 13's not in play here. A good disengage there from Heroes of the Frat.
And we are going to see them move down and take those bottom bruisers, and they're starting to get a lot of map control. They actually have to clear top, but they're running as a 5-man wrecking ball right now. They're going to join up, and that's what they're going to do. They're a strong team fight right now. They got the engages, disengage.
The Entomb comes out on Marvin, but a very nice gust there from Sadat, being able to push them back here to get that zone out. So yet again, doing a nice job of controlling the engagements here and not taking any fights they don't really want, as they have picked up 13, but they are going to have to clear that bottom lane. Both teams actually have their own lanes to clear out here, as Leoric is going to try and zone to try and hold on to this bottom shrine, but ultimately the entire team is going to rotate into this. It looks like it's going to be a 3-man rotation at least. They're going to be able to capture this bot shrine as Tychus takes the top, and they're just going to trade for now.
And this is where it can get very annoying, because Falstad can just fly freely after a certain period of time, and he's on the map to annoy you.
Oh, and Blunderbuss is going to be caught completely out here. Runs into that 5-man wrecking crew of Heroes of the Frat, and they take them down with ease. Oreo Blaster's also got to be careful here. The rotation is coming to the top lane.
Poor Leoric getting picked out like that. If he gets picked off without his team, he's very squishy. I mean, his death timer isn't long. He's got the slow as he can rebuild his death timer, but he's got to be more careful.
We do see Blunderbuss yet again caught up in this 3v1, and the Wailing Arrow is actually going to come out. Kyle Searat getting very aggressive with those Haunting Waves in to be able to get the reset on that Q, dealing a ton of damage there to the members in the mid, but the rotation is here, and we're going to see all 5 members of both teams here. Kyle Searat caught out, but is going to be able to Haunting Wave out of that Entomb. Right away, we do see the Draken Laser Drill going out way in the back. Is not going to really affect that much. The banner goes down, but that's going to be eliminated, and all of a sudden, Cruise Control pushing in here is going to be able to at least get some damage out on this mid fort. But right now, it looks like Heroes of the Frat a little bit afraid to pick a fight, but they are down that level 16 talent tier, so can't really blame them.
And I mean, Falstad lost his Gus bottom. If you seen him fly in, it was an aggressive positioning, almost getting picked off, wasting his Gus, not having to disengage for his team fight. And then you see the laser protecting the Illuminati triangle there. There's nobody there, so who knows what he's got his laser there for. He expected him maybe to jump in on the team, but they want no part of it. They had their Gus down and a lot of ults, so they need to disengage really bad.
Yeah, right now it does look like they're looking to press the issue a little bit in this bottom lane, but they do have 5 members here, and they know that the entire team of Cruise Control is not here after they just captured that top one. Chatrat is going to have a very aggressive gust down into that corner, but they are going to back off of it for now. Still realizing they don't have these level 16s, and they are taking a ton of heat. Leoric will come in and be able to wall off 2 here as Marvin and Rhaegar goes down, as that's going to be the first kill, as yet again, they were not patient enough. They were trying to wait for that 16, but ultimately not waiting for it long enough, and that is going to cost them 2 heroes, possibly a 3rd here, as Jitty is still on the chase, and Marvin is going to come down to try and zone, but that Draken laser drill might be enough. Oh, he's going to make it behind the wall just in time, and Falstad with a near escape there, but that is going to be a Dragon Knight going over to Cruise Control as they get exactly the fight they wanted.
And it looks like they're just going to force push middle. Sylvanas trying to rotate up, steal a shrine, and stop the Dragon Knight, but it is just too late. We'll see what kind of value they get out of this.
Yeah, they also got that the 3 members in the bottom lane. They have picked off that entire front wall. Kyle Searat taking a ton of harass there from Jitty. Is going to have to back up here and get a little bit of heals from Rhaegar. Meanwhile, on the back end, we do see that they are looking to force some kind of fight here with 16. Maybe trying to look for an aggressive barrel roll into that gust, as all these heroics are up, but ultimately this keep is going down one way or the other at this point. They do wall off Shatrat, and the Ancestral is not even close to being in time there, as the keep goes down, and that's going to be another member down here for Heroes of the Frat.
And I like this play. They smart played the Dragon Knight in the bottom. They smart played the team, kind of just fighting their little battles to the side, but, you know, just being that backup team for their Dragon Knight that they needed, and they were just looking to get the keep. Solid play. They know they're coming up on their 20s, so they're just going to wait this out and pick their time, choose their fight, but Gul'dan gets blown up, surrounded and blown up, and this is a bad time for that, having this advantage coming into 20, a keep down. You know, it's not too bad, but
yeah, definitely.
I would have liked to see them back right off, disengage quicker.
Definitely a really nice pickup there for the side of Heroes of the Frat. It's definitely the advantage they needed at this point, to be able to at least give themselves a little bit of breathing room. They can go ahead and paint the map a little bit their color, but ultimately, you're right, the level 20s are just around the corner for Cruise Control. So by the time Gul'dan is back up here, they are going to have the opportunity to go ahead and get that level 20 and be able to force the fight when these shrines are back up, well before Heroes of the Frat are going to be able to have their 20s.
And I mean, it's not too bad because Horrify will be back up off rotation. It was the only the ultimate pop to try and save himself, so he will have that back up hopefully for the next team fight here. But there is a strong wave pushing bottom and still helping this out, making sure the minions don't take very much damage from the fort and the towers.
Yeah, they are able to get the fort here. The question is, how long are they going to stay? It does look like they're going to go ahead and back off, as all 5 members of Cruise Control have gone ahead and rotated in here. Falstad going to go ahead and fly to the top to take care of this big wave pushing in top. But the shrines are active, 23 seconds out at this point. Still an entire level and a half for the side of Heroes of the Frat before they're able to pick up those storm talents. And the question is, are they going to decide to push the issue anyway? It's really hard on this map to avoid team fighting when you're trying to stop your opponents from getting a Dragon Knight. And it looks like Cruise Control, considering making that aggressive rotation, is actually going to go ahead and decide not to. I don't know. I wouldn't have minded seeing them going ahead and rotate up into that top to really force that team fight. There's not a whole lot that Heroes of the Frat could have really done had they made that aggressive rotation, but they would have been taking it under that fort. So, I don't know. Kind of a risky call there. They decide to back off.
And I mean, having map vision, having the lanes pushed, and having the 20, they need to find an advantage somewhere. They need to fight their fight.
The juke coming in there from Right Wing with that blink heal, being able to avoid the gust, and they do wall off Rhaegar. And yet again, the focus goes on the poor dog as he gets entombed and blown up. And that is just that's the problem with him right now. He's always the focus, and he can't ancestral himself, so there's no way for him to be able to save himself. So he just takes that one step out, and he's toast.
And the bad positioning, because I mean, how Rhaegar used to be built, you used to be aggressive with him. He'd be part of the team fights, and now he's got to stay back a lot more and just pop those chain heals, only getting damage when he can, but you basically just want him to heal. Like, he doesn't play as he used to.
So right now it is the stalling game out here from Heroes of the Frat. They realize that a couple of the members rotated to the top to be able to get that top shrine, so they do go ahead and rotate up there. Falstad is going to be able to fly to this top one, but is going to have to answer to Blunderbuss up here. Going to be at least trying to stall this out, and meanwhile Oreo Blaster is able to cast it in the middle. That'll be yet another Dragon Knight going over to the side of Cruise Control, and it looks like they may be taking this bot to look to end game one here, Reaper.
And it'd be the best time to do it. They're up the talent tier. I'm confused why there was no force push into mid. You knew the team was split. You should have been trying to get something there, but obviously not wanting to just lose the game where it could be a loss with this Dragon Knight depending how it's played.
So right away we do see both teams posturing in. Blunderbuss is going to finally be coming down, but the Wailing Arrow comes down. It's going to hit many members. The Ancestral coming out very, very early to be able to get that value out on Marvin. Ultimately, though, he is still getting very, very low here as Oreo Blaster is doing everything he can to try and peel, but the first two to go down are actually Tychus and Brightwing. They do trade him out for Johanna, however, and gonna kick Rhaegar away to at least not have as much heals, but a nice response here. This is going to be a 4 for 1 exchange. Heroes of the Frat, even without those level 20s, able to push in, pick them off there, and now they're going to be taking down this Dragon Knight as well, looking to be able to get to Oreo Blaster before he can really get out of this Dragon Knight and get away.
And this is a scary situation. He does have his Horrify up, and he's doing a great job of stopping them from pushing anything else. With the death timers being high, I'm sure he will escape, and you're going to see him poured out there. Yeah. Solid portal from him using the demonic circle, which it's like, where did Gul'dan go? He's like, peekaboo, I'm over here, you know? And this is a great advantage for them. They're going to be able to put these... But Leoric puts down the Entomb, and it looks like he may get blown up. And this is not the timing for this, with this 60-second cooldown.
You've got to respect the fortitude and the patience and just the, just in general, the composure here of Heroes of the Frat. They have been down this entire game, but they finally get an advantage out, and they keep pushing it. They go to steal those bruisers. We see the aggressive Entomb from Leoric. They turn around and blow him up, and now they are on the same level. Now they have an opportunity to be able to come back in this game. The aggressive fly-in, he's going to be able to gust too. The pull-in and the kills coming in here as the Ancestral comes out on Kyle Searat, perfectly timed to be able to keep him up. Sky 7 is going to also go down in the middle of that. That's a 3-for-0 exchange, and all of a sudden, Heroes of the Frat has come back in this match, and they are on a roll, looking to roll for this bottom keep.
And they're going to want the keep. They're going to go in as super strong. And the big thing about this is where you separate the good teams from the best. Because, I mean, you could be down all game, pull it around and win. Sometimes you got that late team comp, and you're going to see another member get blown up, and this possibly going to be game.
And
learn to push in for the win.
They are getting very aggressive here. They smell blood in the water, and Burticus is going in deep to be able to get these slows and CCs out, and they are going full core here. Varian just using everything he's got from those two weapons, slashing through the core. It is falling, and that is going to be game one. A tremendous comeback here, going over to Heroes of the Frat. What a way to start this series, Reaper.
It was nice. The thing is, in this game, some people, they're losing, they're down and out. They're just basically giving up. They'll just lane, they'll do whatever. But the thing is, this game turns around so quickly, and you've seen their patience. Like you said, they waited. They were waiting for the fight, and when they got aggressive and they're knocking down Tychus and Gul'dan, what do you have left on the team? You've got nothing. You got no damage. I mean, they played a great game, but they failed to take the late game. I feel like they needed to engage. They got the 21st. They got the keep. And I wanted to see them get more aggressive. I thought they had it in the bag, and, you know, they just waited, and they're like, this is our time. Let's do this, boys. Game over. It's ours.
Yeah, the comeback hype is real here. Heroes of the Frat showing us exactly why they were the number 1 team coming out of the regular season in Division 3, and they showed it in a big way there. Let's go ahead and see about getting Game 2 set up here. It is going to be the map choice for the side of Heroes of the Frat, and we'll have to see what map they want here. It's going to be interesting. After taking that first game, how do they want to carry the momentum into this next one? What map do they want to pick up?
And I think it's going to be just as exciting. But I'm worried. Like, when you get big momentum swings like that, it kind of tilts your team. And you see it in games. And this is the thing. You're like, okay, well, we're that good. We almost had them. And then all of a sudden you lose. It kind of gets in your head a little.
Yeah, that's going to be a rough position.
So we're going to see if that's a big factor
from here. I think you're definitely onto something there, where they're going to have to show their own composure here. They're going to have to come back from what was a very difficult match there, where they seemed to have that game going for them all match long, and then they just had a couple of bad sequences there in the end, and it just snowballed out of control.
And I mean, that pickup at the end, like when you're dying with the Dragon Knight, they're like, screw the Dragon Knight, we're blowing up your back line, and there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. It was so awesome.
All right, so game number 2. Go ahead and see about figuring out where these guys are going. All right, so it does look like we're going to be going to Infernal Shrines. It is one of the biggest momentum maps that I've seen in Heroes of the Storm. It's very snowbally in terms of being able to get a lot of structure damage out very quickly. Especially if you draft a team that's good with siege push. If you get a Sylvanas, like we saw in that last match, as soon as Heroes of the Frat had any kind of advantage, they just pushed it to the max with that Sylvanas. And we saw it early game in the top lane where they were able to just counter push. And then we saw it late game there as they started to finally get those team fights rolling and get those advantages. And they just crushed it. Yeah, that chair league video is so funny. throwing all of the chairs into the that thing was fantastic. Alright, so let's go ahead and get these draft links out for these guys so we can get this match underway here. All right, game number 2 on Infernal Shrines. 1-0 lead here for Heroes of the Frat. Should be pretty interesting to see what these teams want to prioritize here for this draft. So we saw a lot of healer prioritization in that first draft. I thought that was really, really interesting from the side of, or I should say from the side of Cruise Control. They monopolized the healer pickups, and it forced Heroes of the Frat into that Rhaegar pickup. I felt like that was a lot of where the early game pressure came from with Cruise Control. They yes, obviously. They had a they did a very nice job of being able to monopolize those healer pickups, get good sustain early to be able to have that advantage where there just weren't a lot of heals over on the side of Heroes of the Frat with that Rhaegar pickup. It worked out for them late game with those big last minute ancestrals. But
and I mean, he missed a few key timing ancestrals, but all in all, they waited it out. They picked their fight, and they got aggressive on the players they needed to. And sometimes, like, you're scared of the front lines, you're scared of the objectives, like Dragon Knight, but sometimes you just need to push through them and get your damage on the players who are going to take your team down. And once you do that, and you just leave them out, you just hang them up to dry, and that's it.
Yeah, and Rhaegar does seem to be a little bit more of a late game hero, especially at 20, when you can get that Storm Shield to be able to really enable your heals, be able to come in. By then, most Rhaegars have picked up Tidal Waves to be able to get the lowered cooldown on Chain Heal. So you've got the decent AoE heals, you've got the Storm Shield. It's just a matter of making it to 20, and they did a really nice job of making it to 20. At one point, there was a Dragon Knight picked up where the opposing team was 20, they were not quite 20. They pushed into the bottom, and it was a little bit of a misplay, a little bit of an overextension from Cruise Control. They pushed in without Leoric. They took a lot of heat. They ended up paying for it. But we have the second draft is starting here. Cruise Control does have first pick, first ban here, as this was Heroes of the Frat's map pickup. And that respect ban coming out, as they are going to shut down Sylvanas right away and say, no thank you. We're not about that whole shutting down towers thing. We don't want to see that again.
I mean, are we going to see a Kerrigan here? Kerrigan being the strongest map, or Kerrigan being the strongest map. This map's strongest for Kerrigan. I like seeing the rotates with Kerrigan pressuring them and making a team scared to even dive out. And they are going to pick up the Falstad and the Kerrigan.
I think you're
so now something. They have the global. They have the rotation comp with Kerrigan. If they can set something up, they can get them scared behind their walls, and if they pop out too far, she's going to punish them.
Yeah, Kerrigan is the biggest punishing hero in the game. Very, very good early game. Very, very strong with that CC combo to be able to pull in multiple members, get them stunned, get them completely out of position. And Falstad with that global presence as well. I really like Heroes of the Draft, or Heroes of the Frat, I should say, how they've started out this draft. And like you said, Kerrigan very strong in this map, not only for the fact that she's a very good early game hero, which synergizes with the snowbally nature of this map, but also that she's extremely good at being able to clear out those shrines. She's able to jump from one minion to another, killing each, resetting that queue, and just hop all around the whole thing, and she clears that out very quickly. She can do it solo about as fast as most teams can do it with 3 or 4 members.
And what I like about this, too, is sometimes it's a mind game. If you're getting blown up early game and the Kerrigan's getting that, her combos off, and you're getting that level advantage, you get in their head and you're like, no, you can't come out or we're going to punish you hard. And you're going to see the toss-up from Kael'thas. You're going to have some blinds from Johanna. The Kerrigan was picked up after the Malfurion, so you're not going to see the polymorphs or anything like that. It's going to be interesting to see how they play, and I think we're going to see Heroes of the Frat possibly banning out Tyrael, being strong late game, jumping in, popping that Sank when Kerrigan comes in, totally negating her ult, negating a lot of the damage from her, but it's yet to be seen what's going to happen here.
Meanwhile, Cruise Control seems to be focusing on wave clear. They do go ahead and pick up Malfurion. He does have the ability to get some really good wave clear, especially if he goes with the level 1 Moonburn upgrade. Johanna, again, the best wave clear tank in the game, and then Kael'thas, who does have the ability to throw in those flame strikes onto these shrines, maybe getting some stacks for himself, but definitely clearing out some of the skeletal minions there, protecting the shrines, getting them closer to that 40 that they need for the Punisher. Zagara is going to actually be the ban out here for Heroes of the Frat, so they're looking to deny some of that vision that she can give and some of that siege presence that she can give, both on the shrines to be able to take those down, as well as denying either the pressure of having to work against Ma or having to work against the possibility of that global presence coming out from Nidus Network.
And I mean, they do have the Falstad, and what I like about Falstad is sometimes on this map, the other team, they'll rotate to the shrine too early, and Falstad or any kind of global can get that soak. And I mean, you don't need to be there right away sometimes, so that's where they can take advantage. And they are going for the strong rotate build. The Murden with the stuns, the Zool with the bone prisons, and Kerrigan with the lockdown. I think they're going to throw Falstad in a single lane, and I'm gonna say you're gonna see some craziness. Zool with some good wave clear if need be, but his lockdown potential, they need to utilize their cleanse just for that bone prism or Kerrigan stun, so they can get their heroes out when they need be. Because I fear Kael'thas's life is on the line right now.
Yeah, and I really feel like Cruise Control needs to pick up Tyrael here, especially for those late game team fights when he needs to be able to throw down that Sank, because the CC that is on the other side is just going to annihilate them every single time. It's going to make it a little bit hard for them in the early game, but the late game, they are going to need Sanctification if they hope to be able to compete once those heroics come into play.
And I'm assuming we're going to see some Twilight Dream here. We're going to need to see that silence when Zool and Kerrigan and Murden get super aggressive. And the Butcher comes up. This is something we have not seen in a while. I love this hero. I just wish he was a little bit stronger. He does buff up late game now with his meat talent, but like you can notice the damage when he ramps up, but you need something to enable him. You need to keep him in the fight, and I just don't know if he's the answer here, being so heavy of a dive comp on the other side and the CC and the lockdown, Jay. What do you think?
It's going to be interesting. Tassadar also going to come out here to try to enable that Butcher dive in. So much lockdown. I am scared for this Butcher. I mean, the Butcher in general does have good sustainability, but if he gets stun locked, he's got no self-sustain. He's got just the one shield from Tassadar and the slow ticking heals from Malfurion. That is really, really scary. If you're getting, stunned from Kerrigan and Muradin after getting locked in place by Zul. I don't know. I don't know about this one, man. I think this might be a little bit of a misdraft from Cruise Control. We'll have to see if they can make it work, but I am a little skeptical.
And I think with Tassadar with his walls and stuff, if they can get a good block, the Butcher does have the healing through his brand, which is nice, and the healing from Tassadar's shields with the auto attacks. But we're gonna see how that plays out, and getting in too deep, you're gonna have to see that cleanse used. You're gonna need those good Twilight Dreams and Kael'thas's knockups. But I mean, Johanna blinding 3 of their characters so far. It's going to be interesting to see what Cruz picks up.
So just the support needed for the side of Heroes of the Frat. Yet again, not prioritizing that support pickup. So Malfurion and Brightwing already out here. Not a whole lot to enable an Ariel pickup either. It is not a bad map for her, as she does have pretty good wave clear and does have the ability to get some serious energy back from being able to whip those minions. But ultimately, they are going to go with Uther here, which is a very good enabler for the Kerrigan, able to put that Divine Shield out on Kerrigan, allowing her to dive in deep and get a lot of work done before she's done. And I think that's a solid pickup from Heroes of the Frat, and I definitely am giving them the advantage in this draft going into the beginning of this game. They're going to be strong early, but I think you're right. Cruise Control does have the opportunity to scale, especially with this double support comp. They could end up, if they make it to the late game without getting too far behind, I think they have a chance. But definitely early game going over to Heroes of the Frat. And I'm definitely seeing them being able to have the opportunity to snowball and win this one quickly.
And I think they're going for the dual support, maybe to try and, stop that Kerrigan damage early. I do like the Uther. Uther's got a lot of utility in his kit. He's got the cleanse. He's got the bubble. Like, there's just so many talents he can pick up. And, I mean, your fingers are wild with the things he can do on Uther. I mean, his healing's not the greatest, but with the comp, like, he's got that stun. Like, they've got so many stuns and CC that you got to be careful on Cruise Control. You got to be a little bit scared, and this is where you got to get in their head. You got to push them back in lanes and be like, you can't do anything, and you can run the game from there, because you need to get that early game. Kerrigan falling off late game. They need to show their dominance.
Yeah, we're going to probably see Heroes of the Frat being pretty aggressive. Where last game, I didn't feel like they had the comp to really do that, but between Muradin stun, Uther stun, the CC coming out from Zol with that root, Kerrigan stun, they have no reason to not be completely ham here. I'm looking forward to seeing how they play. This is, again, one of the better teams in Chair League, as they have gone completely... They've been completely dominant in Division 3 this season, so we're going to probably see some pretty good coordination coming out from these guys. I'm looking forward to seeing it, but we'll have to see if Cruise Control can prove us wrong here with this draft, as we are loading in here. 2 Infernal Shrines on the left. Your blue team is going to be Heroes of the Frat, up 1-0 in the series thus far. It is going to be Marvin playing Muradin. We're going to have Berticus playing Falstad. Balanan is going to be playing Uther. Kyle Searad, team captain, going to be playing Kerrigan. And Sadat is going to be playing Zol.
And on the right side in red, Cruise Control looking to bring it to Game 3, keeping their hopes alive. You have Sky 7 on Johanna, Acryos on Malfurion, Oreo Blaster on the Butcher, Giddy on Tassadar, and Blunderbuss on the Kael'thas. Come on, boys. Let's do this.
Looking to tie up the series here, 1-1, as they do go in right away. The root's coming down, and it is actually Barticus that's going to have to, or Berticus that's going to have to get out in this situation. And all of a sudden, Cruise Control actually showing a little bit of their dominance in that little mid-to-mid scrimmage there. So right away, we see a full 4-man rotation to this top lane, as they are probably going to leave Berticus up here. Like you said, I think that is probably what we're going to end up seeing. But they're going to go ahead and start early by forcing the rotations. We saw this last game, Reaper. They were going to do their best to try and force the rotations out and get the side of Cruise Control out of lane here. But ultimately, not a big response. They're just leaving just enough members be able to quickly and cleanly clear up these lanes with just the 2 and letting the 4 push a little bit.
Yeah, they look to be getting more forceful in the lane, and like you said, they're trying to force them out of lane. I'm not sure if they get much out of this. I was expecting them to do maybe a bottom mid rotate, having a quick rotation in between, but it looks like they're trying to get forceful, and that dual support's kind of holding them off, as Kael'thas is burning him up and trying to build his stacks here.
Yeah, Blunderbuss is going to have to be very, very careful in this early game, as he is trying to build up these stacks. They do get lost upon death unless he reaches that 20. So we'll have to try and keep an eye out to see when he is able to hit 20, if he's able to do that before dying. Meanwhile, in the bottom, we do see Oreo Blaster going ahead and Butcher charging his way in to Sadat there, but he is going to end up backing off before the end there. The bottom shrine is, or the mid shrine is ready to be activated here. We do see teams slowly starting to rotate to it, but ultimately it does look like Heroes of the Frat is going to be the first one on this. And right now, it does look like Cruise Control electing to stay in lane and try and get a little XP while the rest of their team rotates.
And they kind of failed. They had the soap lead, but they decided to abandon top lane, and I feel like they should have cleared it out quick. And you still got Zool bottom, so this is a 5-on-4. I'd like to see an engagement here. You always like to see that rare character coming out, and Kerrigan gets rooted, and Butcher comes in and puts the damage in.
And Kyle Searath, the first to fall here, as you're right. We do see Heroes of the Frat electing to take Zol into lane here. A pretty common strategy that we do see on this map is he is able to rotate through a couple of the lanes quickly to clear those out, get the XP, and be able to push those skeletal warriors into the walls to get a little bit of extra damage out on the structures. But it is going to end up, I think, losing them this first Punisher. They had a big lead here, but they decided not to have Zol collapse into it to help. They lose Kerrigan, and now they're very, very far behind on this shrine. It does look like they're going to make a play for it here as Heroes of the Frat. They get the double stun out here as Oreo Blaster gets very low. They do take down the Butcher, but it's too little too late. First Mortar Punisher here is going to be going over to the side of Cruise Control.
And I think they're looking at it as, oh, well, you're not going to get much out of this. And it looks like they're playing it smart. They're kind of baiting this Mortar Punisher around, letting it not do damage to any of their front wall or fort.
Yeah, so right away they do a nice job of getting in there and getting it down. So it's not going to get too much value here. But we do see that nice dodge there by Kyle Searad, able to use that jump from Kerrigan to juke the Flame Strike. Not going to let Blunderbuss get that free stack off of that, but we do see some nice rotations still coming in. Slight level lead is going to be maintained here by Heroes of the Frat as they lose that Punisher. But what did they really lose there, as they do even have the talent tier advantage here for the moment?
Well, you wanted to see Cruise Control to clear it out. You can't let the team rotate that far in lane with the Mortar Punisher being almost at its spawn point, but you're seeing Zool getting picked up. Butcher comes in, Flame Bomb on him, and he's going to get burnt to a crisp. And like I was saying mid lane, you know, you didn't force in on them. They're in the middle of the lane fighting the Punisher. That's when you want to take advantage. If that Punisher jumps, you can stun lock the team, and you're seeing that heavy push still top.
Yeah, but Jitty and Kairos is doing a nice job here of fending this off just as two supports. Also Jitty putting the bubbles on these structures to be able to sustain them a little bit longer, and so they didn't get a whole lot of value out of that top push. They got Zol, they got that pick on Zol in the mid lane, and they did a nice job of defending the top. So we are seeing Cruise Control with a decent little recovery here from that first phase where they may have missed a little bit of an opportunity with that Punisher.
And it looks like they're really not getting crazy with the Kerrigan. Like, I don't know, they kind of seem nervous about going in and committing to these heavy rotates with Kerrigan.
Well,
what do you think about that, Jay?
To be fair, Oreo Blaster has been doing a nice job of getting some counter damage out here with Blunderbuss. This double support has been able to sustain him in those fight opportunities. And we are going to see yet again, Zol is not going to be coming to the shrine. They are going to elect to go ahead and rotate him through mid and bottom. And right now it looks like the stall game is on here a little bit for Heroes of the Frat. They're trying to do what they can to just keep them in lane and keep them off the shrine at this point, while Zol is getting ever closer to picking up that level 10 for them.
And I mean, with the Butcher picking up Insatiable Blade, he increases his healing, and the double man, Rue Butcher's charging in on the Kerrigan. No respect for the Kerrigan, and they're blowing him up. Fire on Uther, he's going to go down. He's going to heal what's left of his team and their dignity and try to get in there while Zool clears middle. They've got the 10 advantage now. I wonder if they're going to try some. I highly doubt it. They don't have the men for this.
Yeah, without Uther here, they don't have any kind of heals while the double support comp is up, but they're going to actually elect to back out here. Level 10s have come into play, so I think they're a little bit afraid to really go in too deep on this. Kael'thas also had rotated out to be able to clear the mid and bot lanes to be able to pick up 10 for them. So right now, advantage going over to Heroes of the Frat is Kyle Searad just jumping all over these things just making very easy work of these skeletal minions, taking them down and getting them a huge lead. This is going to be a Punisher going over to the side of Heroes of the Frat. So they lose Uther, they lose that fight in the top, but they get 10, and they cause Cruise Control to be a little bit nervous to try and push in to try and get that Punisher.
Yeah, I was kind of confused at what they were trying to gain with Kael'thas soaking lanes. I truly thought the Cruz was going to take that, but they just backed completely off.
So we do see the Twilight Dream coming out. A nice gust there from Verticus to be able to get Kyle Searat out of there and give Uther a chance to try and heal him up there. The stun lock coming out is the hard focus on Johanna, but Sky 7 is going to be able to get out of there without too much trouble with that double support enabling. And ultimately, they do get that top fort down, but they're not going to be able to push in too far onto this top keep wall. They get a little bit of damage out on it, but ultimately a nice defense there from the side of Cruise Control, especially with Butcher being able to get out and get the soak. And yet again, they're not too far behind, but Verticus gonna fly into Oreo Blaster. Nice response, though, being able to put that brand on him, get a little bit of the healing, and force him off.
And I mean, right now, Butcher's just trying to get up his meat stacks. He wants to be that dominant late game force, and this is what kind of sucks with him. I can't really see what his stacks are right now, so we don't know when he's going to bring out his craziness, because he gets his attack speed and his damage late game, and it shows, and it's scary sometimes. But I mean, top, you had Uther with the great Divine Shield to save Kerrigan. Like, they wasted their disengages, they used their cooldowns properly, and, you know, they got what they want. They're not dominating the early game like we thought they would, but they are dominating the game as of now in lane control.
Yeah, and I think this gets a little bit more precarious for them as the game goes on. Kerrigan is well known to be a very strong early game hero, but not known as being a very strong late game hero. Meanwhile, the Butcher is a hero that is famous for scaling in that late game. So I'm a little bit worried here, but level 13s have been picked up. It does look like Heroes of the Frat are looking to force some kind of fight while they are up the talent tier, but ultimately Cruise Control able to stay out and not fight just yet. They're going to continue to clear this lane while the mid shrine is activating.
And it's going to be interesting to see if Cruise Control, they're probably going to try to soak up, get that 13, be on the same talent tier before they pick the fight. I'm hoping anyways, and they might just clear mids. And they do get it here, so it looks like we're going to be on even terms when we go to this center shrine.
Already,
besides being behind the minions.
Yeah, already 15 minions coming up there. We do see the Phoenix coming out there, and a little bit of a back off here from Heroes of the Frat as they are going to go ahead and reposition and look to try and catch somebody out the wall from Tassadar. Going to zone them out for just another moment as they're halfway caught up here. But we do see Marvin jumping in deep, is going to get the stun out, and it does look like Malfurion is going to be blown up right away. They had the target that they wanted to go after. Blunderbuss doing a nice job of getting those bombs spread. Oreo Blaster charging in from the back end, but on the back end, Blunderbuss is also in danger of going down. Kyle Searat not going to be able to jump in to get the kill, though, and it is going to be Cruise Control taking advantage as Kyle Searat jumping around, trying to get those last 3 minions. It's going to be a close race.
Oh my
At 39!
God, stop, man.
They missed it by 1 minion, my goodness!
And you're seeing that late game Butcher scale just dominate the other team. He waited and waited and waited. And this is the thing with these dive heroes. Sometimes you just got to wait for the opportune moment. And I mean, at 39 minions to clear out Uther, come and take the Kerrigan. You know, Kael'thas even survived, which I was surprised. He had like a tick of health, and Kerrigan didn't go on him, but she realized she'd be in danger if she jumped there, and this is a good advantage for them. Hopefully they can, you know, put it in their favor this time.
Yeah, they do go ahead and bait it out to the wall, and this time it's going to be baited over to the back of that keep front wall. They're doing what they can to try and take down the wall, but it does look like they're not going to get too overly aggressive here. They do go ahead and back out as soon as that Punisher goes down. They get the fort, they get the keep front wall in the mid, and now they're going to go ahead and back up and start working on camps.
You know, you always like seeing the odd team win. You know, you pick up the Butcher. You don't see him much in a lot of gameplay, but he is a fun hero, and you know, you wish he was a little bit stronger. But they're playing him to the best of the ability with the Tastar shields, and they back off this camp. They kind of start it for them. They're like, hey, look, we started this. Here's a present. Have this. We got a talent tier. You can have this camp.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and rotate out and get 16. You guys can have the camp. We can clear that up quick enough, so no big deal there. Not wanting to throw the game there. I can see that. They were in kind of a precarious position there, and let's not discredit the fact that this is still a very strong dive comp from the side of Heroes of the Frat, as Sadat is going to have to get out of this situation, as Zol pushing a little bit far into that top lane, and the rotation in response from Cruise Control, but not quite in time, as they send Falstad to the bottom. They're trying to pick up 16. They're trying to stall out and not fight just yet.
And they're playing like they played on Dragonshire. They realize that they're down now. They made a couple mistakes in their team fight on the Shrines, and, you know, now they're like, okay, where are we going to fight and when? But, you know, it's going to be on our terms, and we're going to make sure we're on the same talent tier as you.
And they see everybody in the top lane. They go ahead and rotate to the bot, pick up this bottom camp, and they're going to go hard in to be able to get this fort down. That's a nice capitalization on the positioning of Cruise Control. Again, taking what they can get here is the side of Heroes of the Frat. Oh, but here comes the mid lane gank. They are looking to try and catch somebody out here. Safe rotations coming in, though, as Heroes of the Frat is going to go completely around them. Satrat getting caught out a little bit, will be rooted, will be charged in and stunned by the Butcher, and he's going to get blown up. Very nice pick, very timely pick coming out there from Cruise Control.
And this is good tips for you players. If you noticed, Jitty did not pop his vision because that lets the other team know you're in the area. Now, if you don't know that, it pops up a little red eye on your head, and the other team can actually see that. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. But they waited and waited, and sometimes you got to be patient because, I mean, you know, you're not gaining anything else. You need to get a pick somewhere, and they were solid right before the Shrine. So, you know, they're definitely going to take this Immortal top. They just got to focus on it and get a good push with it.
Yeah, Heroes of the Frat not even going to come to try to contest this one. And they are going to get this one for free. It is pushing into the top, which still has a fort. So this shouldn't be too terrible for Heroes of the Frat. Nothing that they can't recover from. They're even going to go ahead and capture this mid lane bruiser camp, which I really, really like. But also, they leave one minion left over on the side of Cruise Control, so they can go ahead and clear up the lanes, rotate out, and maybe heal up a little bit, and they will be able to rotate in here to get this last one anytime they please. But they are going to go ahead and proc the fight here. The Divine Shield is coming out on Kerrigan as Kyle Searak goes in deep, is going to get the Malfurion pickup right off the bat, but Marvin getting very, very low. And we are actually going to see Kerrigan going down in response there after diving in so deep. And right now it does look like they are going to be able to go in and finish off that one last skeletal minion. The charge in coming from Oreo Blaster, but with the Gust is going to be rooted off in that situation off of Sadat. And they're gonna have to come in later to try and get that kill. The jump in from the Punisher onto Marvin, but the wall to try and zone him out is a little bit too late. But they're gonna get this top fort, but just a 1-for-1 there. I felt like that could have been a lot uglier for the side of Heroes of the Frat, but right now they're holding it together. But they got to look out here as Marvin gets jumped on yet again, but is able to get out of that situation. But the Punisher still got a lot of health here, Reaper.
And if you look bottom lane, that camp is getting value. And it was a smart play to keep the one minion, but maybe they, you know, they're kind of losing a lot. Zool pushing the mid and bottom lane. They just want to keep up that soak. And like I said, they're looking for their fight and their time, and they're going to wait for 20, I'm pretty sure. They're going to play passive and smart, and I mean, these Butcher blow-ups have been amazing. Sure, Malfurion's out. They still have the Tassadar shields where they're giving the Butcher the health back. Plus, he's got the brand with the speed and the extra healing from the basic attack. Like, he is playing the Butcher to a T. He's waiting. He's not jumping in just jumping in and getting burnt down. He's playing it smart, and I'm enjoying watching some good Butcher play.
Yeah, you don't get to see a whole lot of Butcher, that's for sure. So it is definitely nice to see Oreo Blaster breaking him out here in the finals here in Chair League. I guess, when you got your backs against the wall, best of 5 series, you want to go ahead and break out some of your best comps, especially when you're down by a game in that series. So we do see them doing a nice job here, breaking out something that they like to play, something that is maybe a niche pick that they are good at. And they're working it right now as they have level 20 right around the corner. Butcher might be able to secure this on top. It's going to be very, very close as the the mercenary camp will be enough to pick up that 20. Still half a level away here for Heroes of the Frat. They're going to have to be very careful on these rotations. They are staying together as 5, making sure that they don't get picked out again, making some extremely safe rotations to try and safe soak.
This is dangerous on the sides of Hero of the Frat. Now that you got the 5-man slaughterhouse with the silence, you get a Malfurion coming in there with the Twilight Dream. The dream will be had. Everybody will be silenced for so long. Oof. You time that properly, your team is going down.
So we do see the rotation coming in here. They are short Zol, so they're going to try and see if they can't pick up this fight. But level 20 still not here. They do wall off, but a nice gust there. But they do pop both Gust and Divine Shield to get Balanan out of that situation.
And that's going to be advantage for Cruise Control coming into the Shrine. I mean, they have all 5 up, plus the wall is, on a way shorter cooldown. But, I mean, Divine Shield out for 70 seconds, Gust down for 40 seconds. This is Cruise's time to shine.
Level 20s have been picked up here. It does look like they're going to come in to try to contest, but Sadat getting completely caught out here will get stunned. The silence coming out, and the triple blow up there as Blunderbuss able to get a ton of damage out. Kerrigan going to be finished up on the back end. Only Muradin escaping from that situation, and Cruise Control is putting it into Cruise Control right here as they move on towards the end of this game.
And you see our redemption with Uther, so that is going to bring them up. They need to stop this push. This could be deadly for Heroes for the Frat. And I mean, you're going to see the keep picked up, but is this going to be like the other game where they're coming, get the keep, and then all of a sudden the game's turned?
Well, they get the fort right off the bat. They're not even going to waste the Punisher's efforts on that fort. They do have a little bit of a level advantage here, a little bit of a percentage advantage at the least as they push in here. The jump is going to come in on Marvin. The charge comes in, will be canceled as he's able to get out towards that mid keep. They almost actually baited it into that mid keep, but ultimately it does go back down and start hammering on this bottom keep, which is down. Members are coming back here though. Marvin getting caught out a little bit. The wall, he's going to have to dwarf toss out in this situation. But the push is on. The core is starting to go down. They do bait it to the mid keep. But at this point, the core is falling too fast. They're trying to push in to defend here. 67% on the core. But the Punisher comes back in to be able to jump in on this team fight. It is Uther going down first. And all of a sudden, all the members of Heroes of the Frat are blowing up so quickly. This Butcher combo with the KT, just too much damage to sustain. Game 2 goes over to Cruise Control as they tie it up 1-1 in this best of 5 series here for the Season 3 Division 3 Chair League Playoff Championships.
And John Cena was like, it's all me. But, when he jumped in, you had the slaughterhouse go down. You got everybody stunned. You get the 5-man chain. The silences. Malfurion pops his silence. And like I said, it was an explosion, a disaster for them. A great game from both teams. And they need to take the win there. They couldn't just back off. They had to go in. They had to show their dominance.
I feel like it was also a lack of aggression there from Heroes of the Frat in the early game. They had kind of a rough experience in trying to really utilize Kerrigan to what she's good at. Butcher was an incredibly interesting response to that, being able to sustain with that double support. We didn't give it a whole lot of credit, Reaper, but it worked. That comp worked fantastically against this Kerrigan CC combo.
Yeah, Jay, you hit the nail
They hit him nail with the hammer, and I just don't think they played their comp to their full potential early. Like, you got so many stuns and lockdowns off the start. You're almost scared of the double support, but like I figured they just weren't doing their rotations properly. They got the Uther stun, the Bone Prison, the Murden Hammer, and the Kerrigan combo. Like, you want to get aggressive on these guys and be like, look, we're not giving you anything in lanes and stuff. We're going to get you pushed back, and we're going to keep the vision of the map, right? And, just not strong early play by the team of Heroes of the Frat.
All right, guys. So like we said, this is a 5-game series, so we're going to go ahead and give these teams a few minutes respite here to try and gather themselves together. I know me personally, I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of a breather as well and as these guys cool off and get ready for Game 3. So we are going to take a quick 5 to 10 minute break. We'll see how long these guys really need to get back into Game 3 here. But we're going to go on a quick break. We will be right back. 1-1 tied up series here. Heroes of the Frat, Cruise Control, Division 3 Finals. We hope to see you guys in just a few. Alrighty guys, welcome back to Chair League. We are going into the draft for Game 3 here. It is going to be Brax's Holdout, as Cruise Control just had a very decisive and convincing victory on Infernal Shrines, breaking out the Butcher Reaper. What did you think of that match?
Jay, just crazy. You got Heroes of the Frat, the #1 seed. And, you know, it looked like it was going to go to Cruise Control the first game, and if you're thinking about it, they could have took the big wins here. The underdog story coming back in the second game, picking the Butcher, and you're going to see the Rexar band, a strong solo laner in this map, very good to take advantage of. Can throw the bear on the point and keep it away. You know, you could see Chen come out on this map too, very strong, and you're going to see the Sylvanas band right away. They're saying, you know, if you're going to get objective, we're not going to let you get that push in lane.
Yeah, I think Cruise Control still remembers back to that first game where ultimately the fall that Heroes of the Frat was able to push in with was that Sylvanas pickup at the end of the match. And they didn't even need the Dragon Knight for that. They just went straight in after getting those team fights and those stagger deaths, pushed through the entire bottom lane, and were able to win that match in the end after trailing the entire game. But we do see that Malfurion pickup here for Heroes of the Frat. So they're going to change up the script a little bit. They're going to prioritize their healer a little bit earlier this match and get Malfurion, which is going to be the first time we're going to see Heroes of the Frat picking up what I feel is a strong support. But very strong pickups here from Cruise Control as they get the global presence of Falstad and the quite possibly global presence of ETC with that stage.
And he's seen the power of the Twilight Dream last game. Cruise Control played it amazingly. They're like, listen, you can't talk, you can't talk, you can't talk. All silence, no spells for you. So great. You got the Li Ming burst coming out now. It's going to be interesting to see what they pair with the Malfurion, of course. Given Li Ming that mana, she's already got that poke, and, you know, it's going to be interesting to see, do they pick, you know, more of a poke-based comp, or are we going to see more dominance on the shrines?
Well, Brax's Holdout is a very interesting map in the fact that you really need to be able to have presence in two places on the map at once if you want to have true success. You have to have a good solo laner that can be able to take a good 1v1 in that top lane most of the time is how most teams go about it. So it has to be somebody who has got good lane presence as a solo laner, but also good at dueling. And then, of course, you want your 4-man in the bottom to be able to dominate both in siege and presence on that bottom beacon to be able to try to pick up both of those beacons charging in to your Zerg pens. We are going to see the Johanna coming out here. Hard to find a hero in the game that can have better point presence than Johanna.
And with those shields, she can get in and out of situations that you know, most characters can't. And you know, you're going to want to see a lot of picks. You're going to want to see some rotates, and it's going to be interesting what both teams pick up.
We do see the Vala ban out. Sorry about that, folks. I got a little bit of a tickle in my throat there, but we do see the Vala ban out. Very good hero, be able to pair with Ariel, but also really good sustain in that back line. Be able to get a ton of damage out. The sustained damage to be able to complement Li Ming's burst damage. So I think it's a pretty solid ban out. She's got pretty good point presence when paired with somebody that can go in and she can follow in behind. She can do a great job of pressuring. And the Brightwing ban out is Heroes of the Frat putting a little bit more of a prioritization, again, on that healing point here. And they do a nice job of getting Malfurion, banning out the global presence and the strong, sustained healing of Brightwing. They do leave Ariel open, but they've already seen the Vala ban out. They picked up Li Ming. There's not a whole lot of heroes that synergize really well with Vala. Could we possibly, or I should say Ariel, could we possibly be seeing a variant come out to try and support that Vala? Or, that Ariel?
And they're going to pick up the Golden for the burst, and I'm not sure about the Ariel, but they banned out the Brightwing. You've been seeing a lot of stage dive from ETC. That's a global. The Falstad's a global. They're like, you're not going to have 3 globals on this map. I'm sorry, but it's not happening. That would have been really good for this side of cruise control. You're seeing the clear from Gul'dan. Falstad, not too bad, but I think you could see maybe a double front line here, possibly. I'd like to see a Chen. Chen, very strong solo lane, but, we haven't seen a Chen yet. This would be the map for him. I'm not sure if any team's going to utilize him.
Yeah, Chen is definitely not one of the most commonly played heroes in Heroes of the Storm, so we'll have to see if either of these teams want to try and break him out. It is gonna be Rhaegar picked up here by Cruise Control, so they're looking for somebody that's got a little bit better damage, a little bit better presence to be able to jump in and get those finishing blows. Always nice to see Rhaegar back in. Again, I feel like he's still not a super strong healer in general, but we have a couple heroes that have decent sustain, particularly in Gul'dan, so it can enable Rhaegar to be able to keep them alive long enough to really be impactful. 2 more picks for Heroes of the Frat here. What are they looking for here, Reaper?
If ETC pushes in too far, they're going to be looking to drop that Ancestral on him. He gets blown up easily if he's too far in. You're going to get the Thrall. The Sunder with the strong engages, disengages. And, I think they're going to look to pick up another damage here. Thrall being a strong solo laner, they definitely could put him top and pick up some more damage here on their side and maybe outpower them.
Yeah, they got a couple options here. They do have their solo laner up there with Thrall. We'll have to see what they decide to pair it with here. They still kind of need a backline damage dealer.
The question is, are they going to take the auto attack? Not much for the blinds on the side of Cruise Control right now, so it wouldn't be too bad if they picked up an auto attacker right here in their lineup. And they're going to go with the Kharazim. So we're probably going to see a damage build Kharazim, if I'm not correct, hoping that, Cruise Control will pick into a tank. And if they do, you got that 7-sided strike, which does come in handy. You're seeing Kharazim with some changes. Jay, what do you think about his new changes?
I really like a lot of what I'm seeing out of Kharazim's now. He gives that good AoE heal, which is very complementary to what Malfurion can do. He also does a lot of pressure when you're pushing in. So you talk about point presence on these beacons. Kharazim is somebody that can really have a lot of good point presence. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they utilize that as Thrall and Johanna try and get in on those and we get the roots out. And we're going to see Tyrael is going to be the pick up here from Cruise Control. So very interesting. More self-sustain in that front line to be able to enable Rhaegar with those shields coming out. And should be interesting to see from them.
And Jay, just right now, we'd like to thank everybody for coming out, watching these Chair League matches. There's a lot of great games today in the playoffs. A lot of casters who are amazing, guys. And give a big hand for Chair League. All you guys coming out to support. Making this event so great on this amazing Saturday.
Championship Saturday in full swing here with this best of 5 series here. Cruise Control and Heroes of the Frat. They have tied it up. We do have a series on our hand for sure, Reaper. And both of these teams seem pretty evenly matched overall. They seem like both teams have a lot of strengths, a couple weaknesses that we've seen each team exploit. Be interesting to see how what they try to do here on Braxis. This is a very snowbally map, very reminiscent of the good old days when we had Haunted Mines, where it was just so easy to snowball. Particularly when you had a hero like Sylvanas coming into the format that was just so good at helping push with those objectives. Who do you think won this draft in an overall sense?
Well, for point control, you're going to have to go with Cruise Control on that. But, you do have that double sustain. Like I said, Kharazim losing the cleanse, but, gaining in other aspects of his gameplay. Does the dual healing keep them alive longer for the
Yeah, we'll have to see if they want to what the solo lane's going to be here. Probably Tyrael, if I had to guess, for the solo lane for cruise control. But yeah, that double sustain in that bottom lane is going to be really tough to deal with. So we are loading in here for game number 3, Heroes of the Frat versus Cruise Control. This is going to be I think a really big turning point in this series. We'll have to see how these two teams go about trying to capture these beacons, doing these rotates, how long they're going to leave their solo laners up in that top lane, as most teams tend to go with that 4-man rotate in the bottom, try and pressure point. We'll have to see how it goes here.
And, you know, it doesn't stop here because, I mean, there's probably a lot of these teams getting ready for, you know, the Pro League next year coming up, and Blizzard's made some big announcements. And with this match, it's awesome. We got Cruise Control, the underdogs coming out. They've tied the series up. This is going to be a good match, too.
And we are loaded in here to Braxis holdout for game 3. On the left, we have Heroes of the Frat. Marvin is going to be playing Johanna. Sadat is going to be playing Karazim. Berticus on Li Ming. Kyle Searat, team captain, going to be playing Thrall. And Balanan is going to be playing Malfurion.
And in the red side on Cruise Control, we have Sky 7 on ETC, Blunderbuss on the Falstad, Jitty on the Tyrael, Oreo Blaster on Golden, and Akrios on Rhaegar. Let's get this match going, guys. Show some hype, show some love for the teams. Show some love for Chair League. Great organization, great casters. You know, there's great games today. Let's get pumped, guys, for some Heroes of the Storm.
Right away, we see the 4-man rotate as Heroes of the Frat going to change up the script, not going to adhere to that gentleman's agreement to send those solo laners to the top lane. They're changing things up right away, as they are able to put a little bit of BM onto that front wall there in the top lane. Nothing too crazy. They're actually going to leave Malfurion, Balanan in the bottom, but in the top.
Getting shot down, my friend Jay. He got in there far, and he's like, you know what, I can take this. He just couldn't go beat for beat with 4 of them collapsing in on him, and he had no escape.
Yeah, unfortunate moment there, as the minions had not quite arrived. Nothing to really be able to dive into. He doesn't pick up that that clone, that avatar, until level 4 to really be able to hopscotch his way on out of trouble. So not much escape potential there for him, as we do see them pushing in here in the bottom. Heroes of the Frat trying to respond with that push and that extra poke that they have with that double sustain up front.
And I mean, they didn't lose much of experience from that, but you know, I think it was just Karazim flexing his muscle and be like, look, I'm here, guys. You haven't seen me in a while.
So we do see that Sadat is going to be the solo laner of choice in that top lane, as we see the rotations. Beacons are activating here, so teams are going to have to decide how they want to prioritize these rotations. It does look like Tyrael's winning a little bit there. Jitty doing a nice job in that top lane. He's going to be able to rotate down and pick up this beacon pretty quickly, but a nice response in the bottom as they get the roots and the CC out on Sky 7. But Marvin gets very, very low in the back. Blunderbuss going in deep to be able to get that kill. Is going to have to back out. But for now, both beacons have been picked up by Cruise Control, at least until Balanan is able to rotate up to deny that for the moment and capture that bottom beacon for Heroes of the Frat.
And I mean, Blunderbuss coming in and being aggressive, and they got that pick, but they back off both points. And we need to see them push in. They got the pick, and it's weird to not see Thrall in the solo lane, but there's a lot of action going on as of now.
Yeah, they elect to send Karazim up there. It's like you said, this could very well end up being more of a damage-based build. They did get the... they did indeed... what did he pick up? Yeah, he did pick up Insight at the beginning, so definitely going more of that damage build to start. And so, that, yeah, like you said, it's a very interesting solo lane. But for now, it looks like they're prioritizing the top lane is the side of Cruise Control, putting 2 members up there as a little bit of a collapse in here on Sky 7. It is a 4v3, so they're looking to punish here in the bottom lane.
And we're seeing Spirit Ally coming out with Karazim, and like his play style is different now. Like I do like it. I'm missing that cleanse, but you know, he's just a crazy hero right now. It'll be interesting to see how he plays out.
We do see a nice rotation in here from Cruise Control. Blunderbuss flying down. They are going to be able to capture this beacon, and yet again, they're going to be charging their Zerg pen as already up to 50% as Thrall rotates to that top lane. Is going to be able to block it for the moment, but 54% built up as they pick up the first of those really big minions up front. But right now, it does look like both teams kind of just jockeying back and forth. Blunderbuss looking to possibly be there as he was low on mana, but is going to have to turn around here as Marvin is getting in, trying to steal this, and he can't have that in this 3v4 situation. So he'll stall it out a little bit. They'll recapture it and force them back into lane.
And I mean, sometimes this map, you get the objective early and you get a good push, and you know, you're having trouble as the other team picking it on. You got Thrall coming out, stunning ETC. ETC a little overextended, no help from the backline. He does get out though, and you've got 2 up top and you've got 3 bottom. This game is very crazy. 54% for Cruz, and here's the Frat only with that small 24% that they were left, but they're getting a big push on bottom.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot more rotates here from Cruise Control thus far. They do have the global presence of Falstad, however, to make that a little bit simpler. But in the meanwhile, we are seeing a nice push here from Heroes of the Frat. They're leaving the 4 members here in bottom. They're doing a much nicer job of being able to push into this bottom lane, and regardless of what percentage they get, that is the priority lane for them, as their Zerg push is going to be in the bottom lane for this first push.
And sometimes you could win advantage on the beacons, but the thing is, like, you got to push somewhere else. You got to find that experience somewhere else, and they're doing a great job keeping up, not falling behind too much. They realize they've got a weaker lane top, and they're just kind of playing it safe and pushing.
Yeah, right now we do see the rotation in from Jitty. He's going to be able to come down to at least start to capture this beacon. The rotation does come in here from Heroes of the Frat. They're looking to respond. Sky 7 getting very, very low, as he's going to have to back out of this situation or risk death, and they do a nice job of defending here. Not going to let the side of Cruise Control get any more into that Zerg pen just yet.
And when they do take 10, this is where they're going to gain the advantage, because you're going to have that ETC come in. They're going to be focused, easy to burst down, but if you get some good Ancestrals, that could turn the tide of the fight really quickly, Jay.
Yeah, not to mention that Tyrael is going to be able to put Sanctification down on these beacon points. But Sky 7 is going down here, as the resets are also on for Verticus. He's able to throw out another orb there, not connecting, as Oreo Blaster and Ikaros are going to have to be very, very careful. Even more damage coming out into this bottom lane. The front wall is completely gone. And we're seeing the exact same thing, however, up in the top lane. Jitty has done a nice job with the occasional rotations here from Blunderbuss going to that top lane. So both teams kind of mirroring each other here, getting advantage in that lane of choice for their Zerg push. Meanwhile, the rotation coming in here, both teams are going to swap beacons in this moment.
And I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm excited to see who's going to win this first beacon phase. Like you said, they're both doing the same thing, and you're getting Thrall taken up top, but his self-sustains, keeping him in the fight. The kerosene damage, they're going to have to back off. Thrall getting really low, but he managed to get his health back up and escape, Jay.
Crazy exchange in that top lane. Both members of both teams, they're just saying, hey, come fight me, bro. But we do see for a moment, Cruise Control does have control of both of these beacons. Tyrael going down, gonna die for trying to keep it here. Sadat's gonna be able to get out just long enough as Kyle Searat, they're gonna get stunned while this bottom beacon fight also raging on. There's fighting everywhere, Reaper. We can't keep up with it.
And ETC getting low, he's going to have to opt to back up. You got Blunderbuss coming up top, and I think we may see the Zerg wave goes to Heroes of the Frat. Red's got to go back and completely heal. I don't know if there's going to be enough time to stop it. It looks like there's going to be a heavy rotate top, looking like maybe they're going to jump on ETC. ETC needs to get out there. Falstad flies in. ETC slides in with 4 members there. There comes he's extremely blown up.
They are able to exchange out. Wow, they are able to exchange out Malfurion for that. But ultimately, the Zerg push is going to be won for the side of Heroes of the Frat as we see that entire 100 Zerg wave pushing in the bottom, but you can't discount Gul'dan in this situation. One of the best wave clear heroes in the game, already taking out all of the Banglings, taking down a ton of the Zerg push. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Blunderbuss doing what he can to try to enable this, but Marvin and Sadat also doing a nice job of keeping the Zerg at bay. Both teams doing a nice job of defending in this first phase.
And I mean, they put all their eggs in the top basket, but the Sunder goes out trying to slow Li Ming down. The stage dive comes out, and it might be enough. Li Ming just not being able to get past the wall. Malfurion escaping, Thrall getting dived on, and he's going to explode.
Wow, that clutch stage dive coming in from Sky7. The teleport at the last moment by Burticus to be able to get out of that, but the slide in and Jitty getting in there deep as well is able to take them down, get a 2-for-0 exchange, and now they're pushing into this bottom fort here, Reaper. They are taking full advantage here. Cruise Control is setting up themselves for another lead as we transition into the mid game here on Brax's holdout.
And this was an amazing switch. ETC's like, you know what? You blew me up. I'm coming back for revenge. Awesome talent pickups by Heroes of the Frat, utilizing to pick up ETC in the top lane, and they just got nothing off their push. They put all their eggs in their basket top. They didn't get anything on the push bottom, and ETC's like, listen, you blow me up once, you blow me up, fool me twice, not for the third time. We're coming in, we're taking you, and they're looking strong. They're coming up on their 13, Jay, so they are going to take their camps, both teams backing up, letting themselves do their work, and this game is going to be hectic. It is going to be crazy. I like how even it is, because, I mean, sometimes this map snowballs and it's just not fun to play, watch, but this is a great matchup between two great teams.
Yeah, right away, both teams going to go ahead and rotate to try and help support or deny the pushes. But we do see Sanctification coming out as the full 5-man rotate comes in. 7-sided strike also coming down. And that Twilight Dream from Malfurion going to be enough to take out Rhaegar here, and that is going to be another 2-for-0 exchange here. Heroes of the Frat taking the advantage this time on bot, but in top, we do see Oreo Blaster and Blunderbuss getting the advantage, pushing with that siege camp, being able to take that top fort.
And this boss could be super dangerous right now. They know they've got a very limited time, and ETC, they know where they are right now. Are they going to come in and get the Gus? Maybe the steal?
Oh, the Gus
there
comes
is
in.
The Gus.
They do
They're
roll
on
in.
point.
Sky
Not enough.
What?
Oh, it is.
Oh, the face melt just enough to zone them out. Sky7 is going to pay with his life, but the boss steal is on there. Reaper, incredible move.
What is going on? I'm lost for words. This back and forth, and I mean, they lost one, and I'm like, okay, so maybe they're going to back off now, but they're going to take 2 kills. You're going to see Thrall take the Earthquake, where maybe the Sunder could have popped them off the point enough time to steal it, but that was just insane. The face melt taking the people off the point, enabling to get the boss, and now they're getting the beacons for the Zerg wave. This is gonna be crazy, Jay.
And they are pushing in with the boss. The Zerg wave is charging. There's nothing that Heroes of the Frat can do about this. Cruise Control is just waltzing in towards this bottom lane, being enabled by this boss, as the Zerg wave is going to be behind this as well, pushing in this bottom lane. A brilliant move here from the side of Cruise Control. And whether they planned it or not, this is a huge moment for them to be able to really push this game past the point where Heroes of the Frat could possibly come back from it.
And I mean, they had nothing to zone them off. They should have known, like, sure, they got death timers, but maybe have somebody out there and zone the team out, and now they're going to go full push bottom. Are they going to take the keep, Jay? This is a strong point in the game for them. They cannot let Heroes of the Frat come back and take advantage. With them being so close to 16, this is in the hands of Cruise Control.
Yeah, this might be the last opportunity for Heroes of the Frat to really come in. They do go ahead and pull in with that condemn from Marvin. Blunderbuss coming in, throwing that hammer, trying to see what he can get done. Meanwhile, on the back end, Sky7 very deep, will get blown up for his trouble by that 7-sided strike. They do exchange Thrall, however, the resets are on as Tyrael falls as well. And Bardic is doing everything he can to try and push him out here, but the keep goes down, and a 2-for-1 exchange. That's definitely, I would take that if I was Cruise Control.
Yeah, they did. They did get the keep. You know, a little bit more deaths than I wanted to see there. You know, this where Heroes of the Frat play strong. They're very good at coming back, and I wouldn't count them out just yet. I mean, Cruise Control taking that advantage of the keep, and they just got to keep that pressure on the bottom lane for when the beacon phases come up. So somebody's got to go back and clear, and they can take full objective on the map.
Both teams just going ahead and rotating out at this moment to just try and clear out their lanes, try and get that XP. Right now, Heroes of the Frat trying to avoid fighting. Doesn't have that level 16 talent tier yet, so they're looking to go ahead and pick that up. Meanwhile, we do see the side of Cruise Control more or less rotating together, as they are going to go ahead and have an opportunity to pick up these bruisers in the bottom. But nice rotation here from Heroes of the Frat. They see most of the members in the bottom lane, so they're going to go ahead and pick off at least that well in the top lane, making sure that they're not going to have that disadvantage in that top lane for when this next beacon phase comes up, with that well tap being available. Doing what they can here without this talent tier, not trying to push anything too hard, but trying to take advantages where they can.
Well, they were smart. They cleared out the bottom lane. They took the camp. They got the vision in the bottom lane. They're free to clear that camp top, so that means nothing for them. They can push that in. That's going to give them overall a global presence on the map where they can see top and bottom lanes to see where they come from. You know, Heroes of the Frat's going to have to use the middle the more. They have got the talent. We got to see them rotate here strong, and they got to come in.
And we do see the rotation from Sadat is going to get in deep and hit that 7-sided strike. Not doing a whole lot of work, though. Everybody hitting the R buttons here. Earthquake coming out here after the sanctification came down, but that's not going to be enough to sustain. Tyrion's going to go down. A huge blow up there. Ancestral will be able to come out on Oreo Blaster, but ultimately, that's a huge response here from Heroes of the Frat. Getting a 2-for-0 exchange here. Falstad going to be able to fly to the bottom and get at least a little bit of a charge here, as they do pick up both beacons for the moment, but the rotation to the top, Heroes of the Frat will be able to push them off and capture this top shrine, as also we see Kyle Searat getting it in the bottom. So a 12%, nice little move there by Falstad, using that global presence to get it for a moment, but it does look like this is ultimately going to be going over to Heroes of the Frat this time around.
And see, that was dangerous. Like, if you look at the bottom presence of the minions on their core, like, they had advantage, and you know, I would have liked to see him back. And Li Ming getting the tip of the laser on Falstad. He does not like that. He does not want that, but he is blown up, and there's nothing he can do about it. These staggered deaths are going to be the death of them. They needed to back off. They need to take advantage. They had the advantage on the map, and they kind of just threw it away. And this is where Heroes of the Frat, you know, thrive. This is where they grow. This is how their team plays.
I'm having a little bit of a sense of deja vu here from this game 1 that we saw in this series, where, yeah, it's like you said, the staggered deaths are definitely starting to stack up on them. They've got this entire Zerg wave in the bottom lane pushing with them. No actual minions with them, however, but they do get in. They do have many of the ultimates available. They don't have 7-sided strike, but they are pushing into this front wall, as Falstad finally coming back up here as they start to move in towards the keep. The slide and Kyle Searat getting very, very low, but the blow up from Li Ming, as Blunderbuss finally able to fly down and is able to take out Thrall. And it does look like Heroes of the Frat are going to go ahead and back off. Without Thrall, no reason to get too aggressive. They are still on the chase, though, here. Our Cruise Control, are they going to chase this further?
And this engagement was just insane. Like, you thought Heroes of the Frat was going to take a keep, and they needed a keep here to keep that bottom lane. And you're looking at Cruise Control. They're pushing out that lane a bit, and they know they got the stronger bottom lane. I think Heroes of the Frat went in a little bit too aggressively. I would have liked the Sunder picked up. I mean, Earthquake getting some buffs, but you know what that pulse is? It's not strong enough. And, you know, they got the kill. They got the blown up. They need to play a little bit more safer. I would have liked to see that. But now Cruise Control taking control of that wheel, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do now.
Yeah, Boss is in play here, but both teams are fully up here. Level 18 for both teams, so no real big advantage there. Both teams are definitely checking it out. They're making sure that The other team is not on it just yet, so we'll have to see if anybody's wanting to prioritize this. I would say the advantage goes over to Cruise Control. It's like you said, you don't have the zoning tool of Sunder over on the side of Heroes of the Frat, so if somebody's going to take this boss and be able to get it easily, it is definitely going to be Cruise Control.
Well, you got the Horrify, you got the Gust if need be, you got the Sanctification, you also have the Holy Ground popping up those walls, and they got advantage on the map. The only thing going for them is those two camps. They're going to take that, but Cruise Control's got to be careful where they pick their fights here. Look like they want to pick someone off, and Blunderbuss goes in maybe a little bit too early, and they got to be careful they don't get rotated on.
Yeah, we do see Marvin on the back end getting caught out just a little bit, but we'll be able to walk away with that iron skin available there.
I think we're just going to see Heroes of the Frat rotate in and maybe grab the beacon that they already got. Kind of scoping the bosses a little. They're a little split. Falstad up top. He is coming around behind. We're going to see what kind of move they make. The Sank is popped to stop the seven-sided strike. They're all throwing out some lightning, and Falstad in a very dangerous position here.
Oh, Blunderbuss in the back end is able to cancel the Li Ming damage, but ultimately the collapse still comes in. The resets are on the stage dive from Sky 7 to get out of that situation. Both beacons are picked up here, though, for the moment for Cruise Control. As the full push comes in, the Twilight Dream coming out. Oreo Blaster getting very, very low on the back end. Sadat is going to be able to finish that kill off. And that is going to be a 2-for-0 exchange, a 3-for-0 as Rhaegar goes down. Holy Ground not able to zone for him there, and ultimately a huge win there yet again. Heroes of the Frat taking that overextended Falstad play, and they're going to turn it into capturing both of these beacons, getting the boss, and maybe even more as they've picked up their level 20 talents at this point.
And Jay, this isn't too bad for Cruise Control right now. They may be down the talent. They did get 82% of the Zerg wave, and if you notice where that pen is, it's going straight on core. But the Heroes of the Frat do pick up the boss for their Zerg wave. Are they going to look to get aggressive and maybe finish this game? This could be trouble for Cruise Control right now. They do not need to get picked off here.
Sadat popping that 7-sided strike, if nothing else, just to get him out of trouble. Meanwhile, Sky 7 also in a lot of trouble there. But Falstad is going to fly into bot. It looks like is going to actually try and maybe push with the Zerg wave in the bottom lane. The boss pushing in the top lane along with the Zerg that are making their way down in this top lane. And looks like a full retreat here from the side of Heroes of the Frat. You called it with that big Zerg wave in the bottom. They're not willing to risk it, even with the level 20s and the keep up in that top lane. They're not going to try and race. But both teams are just going to choose to clean up here. I feel like we were robbed a little bit. But ultimately, that's a win for Cruise Control. You know, they didn't get the full Zerg push. They don't have their level 20s. They don't want to fight here. Oh, but Falstad dying to the minions there. That's rough. That's rough.
And you almost seen ETC go down, and this is bad. 60-second death timer. They're going to try to sneak bottom, keep, and nobody getting a real big advantage off that. But here we go. This is where they need to even up. They need to take this keep quick. Are they going to go in for it? They know Falstad's down for 37 seconds. All ults up on both sides besides the Gust from Falstad. I don't think they're getting anything from trying to fight here on core, but, you know, who knows? They're probably just going to back up, and that's a great idea for them. Maybe try to steal the camp and take their other camp.
I really like that play, actually. We've seen a little bit of overextension tendencies here from Cruise Control. They knew they had Falstad down, so the biggest zoning tool of Gust was not going to be available to put them in a really, really bad position. So they do go ahead and back up after they see that nobody gets out, but they were looking to see if they could catch anybody out in that 4v5 situation if Cruise Control was going to get a little bit too hypey to try and come in to defend that. Meanwhile, they are going to go ahead and try and poke out this top keep. They've got the minions pushing in the bottom, so no real hurry to get that. They also have the camp, but they are going to go ahead and back off, not wanting to risk too much, as level 20 talents are here for Cruise Control.
And maybe this is where Cruise Control needs to come in and jump on this camp, because you know, they're just taking the map now, and they're like, this is mine, this is mine. It's like kids trick-or-treating at Halloween. Look at all the goodies they're getting, Jay.
They're going to be able to split off and pick up both of theirs after, like you said, painting the map blue, picking up both of Cruise Control's camp here. And they're sticking together. They're watching for the rotates here. Great job by Marvin, just acting as a living ward, waiting in that smoke, waiting for anybody to rotate in. And we do see the rotation coming in. It does look like they might try to contest here. Marvin is going to be able to scout this out. They are not going to be able to get in there in time, but the full fight's going to come out. Sanctification coming down. Also seeing the dive in on the back line from Sky 7, and he's going to be silenced. And he's so low here, but he is going to go down right away. Cruise Control getting a little bit too aggressive. They're also going to lose Rhaegar in that situation. And Blunderbuss is an abject horror as Bardicus throwing out the abilities, dealing a ton of damage. Also, the beacons are up here. This is disastrous for Cruise Control.
And ETC went in a little bit deep. He didn't really have the... and Falstad almost getting picked off, but flied out quickly. And ETC just didn't have the backup from the team. He was a little bit too deep, got cut off. You know, he had the Ancestral pop, sank quick. It was like all the ults just went down from both teams. And, you know, it went to the side of Heroes of the Frat. And this could possibly... be game. I don't know. They should be forcing this. They got the camp, 2 members down for 20 seconds. Falstad gets blown up, and it's looking like it's going in favor of Heroes of the Frat. They are going to end this here, end this now. Such a great series, Jay.
And
I do not think there is anything to come back from that.
The core is going down. They throw out the Earthquake just to slow the advance. Falstad still so long away. The stage dive, they're trying, but they are ultimately... the core is going to go down here. Heroes of the Frat taking a 2-for-1 lead here in this best-of-5 series for this Division 3 playoff championship match. Totally incredible play from them. It's like you said, they just were able to get those slow but steady staggered deaths in, and that just ultimately led to their win. Really, really big win for them, and they get this map pick going into Game 4 as they are going to try to secure themselves this championship series and those sweet, sweet Chair League t-shirts.
Very exciting series, Jay. I'm glad I'm casting this. These 2 teams are coming out to play. Here's the Frat, like I said, strong at coming back. They know how to stall out. They know where to pick their fights. They knew ETC was getting aggressive, and they were forcing him to do that. And I mean, the back line of the team, not much they can do to enable. They were basically using their ults for disengages, and I'd like to see it more aggressively used, Jay.
Yeah, I felt like you're right. They did have a little bit of an issue coordinating some of their ultimates. They had a lot of zoning tools. I felt like there were a couple times they could have maybe tried to force boss. I know that sounds a little bit desperate, but when your backs are against the wall like that and you've got these zoning tools, you can kind of use that to your advantage. Having the ability to throw Sanctification and stage dive onto that point when the boss goes down, horrifying them off. You've got the face melt to keep them off, the holy ground. They just never really seemed to push in at the right time, even when they tried to rotate in at the end there to that bottom camp. They were just a little bit too late. They were a little bit slow on the rotate. They couldn't actually steal the camp, and it was just kind of a bummer for them.
And I mean, you force a fight on the boss, you get them to come in, you back off, let them take the damage from the boss. Sometimes that works in your favor, sometimes it doesn't. But you're right, Jay. Maybe that was their best chance at it. They did lose the people, lost the boss. Their keeps went down for free. They rotated down on the keep. Smart play by them, and they got those picks that they needed. And they're like, this is game time. We don't want to be down 2-1, and we're going to take this series. We're going to take control, and it's exciting. It could go either way here, and I can't wait for this next map. These 2 teams duking it out, throwing everything they got. Just a little bit too aggressive ETC play, I think.
So we are going to see the 4th match here is going to be Battlefield of Eternity. This is going to be Heroes of the Frat looking to take us to their home turf. Battlefield is a great map. It's a map that I really like. We're seeing the smaller maps prioritized. We haven't seen any big maps in this entire series, Reaper. Kind of surprising.
Well, we did see Infernal Shrines. That's a little bit of a bigger map. It's a small map, still easy for rotates and stuff like that. But you're right, like a lot of small maps, and objective team fight based maps, which is always exciting. There's always action going on, and these two teams are putting on a great show.
Let's see. We're getting the lobby set up here, getting the draft links out here for this game 4. What heroes do you see these teams prioritizing this time around?
Well, this map's big for you got some big burns. You got a lot of people are picking up Vala with the Q build now, very strong on the Immortal. So it'll be interesting to see if one team they decide to race off the beginning, or team decides to defend. You got big heroes like Tyrande being able to chunk huge damage out of the Mortals. Greymane with great burn, he's kind of fallen off. Sylvanas, if you get the objectives, you can get some solid push in, but it's got to be based around her, and you have to actually be winning. So there's a lot of great heroes for this map, and I love switching from map to map. You get so much meta in between maps, so many picks you can pick up, and this one's going to be a great one. You've seen a great 2-lane map last game, and hopefully this goes the same way. I want to see this excitement, Jay. What do you think? What do you think there's going to be priorities for on this map?
Sylv is somebody that you always prioritize on this map because she's really good at good at maps that have good pushing objectives. And there's really not any that's much better than the Immortal. Definitely one of the strongest in the game in terms of being able to support it and push with it. And just in general, we see a lot of damage dealers that are good at PvE damage. You see Lunara prioritized quite a lot. This is a good map for Greymane in a format where he's not all that great and strong anymore. One of the only maps where Tyrande really seems viable because of her ability to get that Hunter's Mark out and get the vulnerability out on the Immortal. So it's kind of some odd picks where you normally don't see a whole lot of PvE in Heroes of the Storm, but this is definitely one of those maps. And right away, we see that Sylvanas ban out. Cruise Control, remembering all the way back to that first game. Hey, these guys are good with Sylvanas. We better ban it out.
The double respect ban here. And, I mean, this opens it up for Cruise Control on their first pick. Malfurion being taken away for the first time. And who are they going to pick up first, Jay? They need probably some strong for mortal damage. And Li Ming, very top priority on this map sometimes with their explosions in their poke damage, being able to sit there with low mana and still poke out the Immortal.
Yeah, she's got a lot of different talents that can really be put into PvE damage as well. Level 4, she gets a bonus to her missiles that proc extra basic attack damage when she hits. Level 7, she can get the Seeker talent if she decides to go that direction instead of Calamity, which puts extra damage when you hit at least 3 missiles onto one target, which is really great for ripping across Immortals. And then at level 16, when she gets Mirror Ball, it just becomes crazy how she can chunk that thing. But Varian going to be the pickup here for Heroes of the Frat. So we saw them break it out in the first game. Worked well for them. They're going to go ahead and pick it up this game. Talk about PvE damage. At level 10, when Varian gets that double sword, that can get scary being put on an Immortal.
And they're going to pick up a double tank with them, and right away the Brightwing. What do you think? Like, it's so nice having these new heroes rotate in, because then you get the different bands. I mean, you're still seeing Malfurion, not so much of Samaru anymore. So, the game definitely stays interesting in that perspective.
Yeah, Brightwing is a very interesting pickup. In my opinion, this is not one of Brightwing's better maps. This is probably one of her weaker maps. And just in terms of not being able to put a ton of damage out on the Immortals, it is good if you're going with the general strategy of trying to self-sustain in those long poke-out battles. But Varian is really not that hero you go for. So we have to see if that's a little foreshadowing what Heroes of the Frat want to draft later. But we do see the ETC pickup. Cruise Control are going to go ahead and prioritize picking up their frontline tank. And ETC is very good on this map with his ability to empower the basic attack speed of his nearby allies. You can get a lot of benefit off of his trait, being able to try and take down these Immortals.
And I mean, he's got to be a little bit careful this match. He knows he played a little bit too aggressive. I'd like to see him slow it down a little bit, let Li Ming do the damage he needs to from a distance, and, just overall slow their gameplay down. Maybe wait for that back line to help engage before you take something, but, they definitely looked strong last game, and they kind of fell apart, and we are going to see the Greymane great at bursting down the Immortal. So I'm almost leaning toward maybe Heroes of the Frat trying to defend against the first Immortal phase, unless they can pick up some strong heroes like Vala, and, not much left on the board for them. For Big Burns, Lunara.
That's a really big pickup here by Cruise Control. That's a nice job of countering the Brightwing pickup. Between Li Ming and Greymane, you have a lot of burst damage, and with ETC being able to slide in, if he's able to catch out one of those squishies to get them stunned, even just for a moment, Li Ming and Greymane can really put that damage together and blow somebody up quickly, and proc the resets to be able to go on to blow up a second person. So we'll have to see if that's really what they're going for here. That seems like the build that they're starting to go towards, and Uther is going to be the ban out here for Heroes of the Frat. Very good at being able to throw out Divine Shield onto Greymane and that Divine Mosh.
Yeah, and that's what they're taking away from. They don't want like one of the highest burst killers in the game, Greymane, with go for the throat and bursting onto Brightwing, like you said. Of course, Brightwing also being able to counter Greymane jumps with the polymorph. Uther, kind of scary for Heroes of the Frat if Cruise Control would have picked him up, but it would have been all team-based at that point in the game. So I'm not sure what Heroes of the Frat's going to pick up here. They definitely need some mortal damage. I'm thinking they need to pick up a Vala here, get that auto attack, the Q build going. It's also good for blowing up mages in a single rotation, Jay, and they do pick up the Tyrande, so they got the double support. They like their fall stat for disengages. Now the question is, are they going to single tank Varian? I don't know if they have the damage here, Jay. What do you think?
Well, they can still decide to go with more of a bruiser-heavy hero. One of the coolest things about Varian is that he is versatile. If you want to go ahead and pick up that shield talent at level 10, it makes him a full-fledged frontline tank that can take a ton of damage. But we'll have to see what they want to pick up. I think it's going to be a response to what Cruise Control brings to the table. If they do want to pick up a Tychus and go with a little bit more of a backline comp, they can do that. But they still need their healer here. Ariel's still on the table. Could be decent here. Karazim's still on the table as well. Has good, solid immortal damage also with the PvE aspects. We've seen them prioritize Rhaegar. Rhaegar can be pretty good with that ancestral healing being able to be thrown out on Greymane when he starts to dive. Not quite as effective, but it is going to be Karazim, so they're going to go ahead and prioritize the PvE damage that he brings to the table. So now the only question, do they want to go with a second frontliner, somebody that can really push in to this double support comp and enable the reset comp of Greymane and Li Ming, or do they want to go a little bit more backline heavy and pick up another range damage dealer, something like a Lunara or a Vala or maybe a Tychus, if they're kind of seeing Heroes of the Frat go with a double tank here.
And I thought Cruise Control would have came out with the Ariel and the Vala, but you're going to see the Kerosene damage come out again. You're going to see the Ariel with the Aegis, maybe to save ETC a little bit more. You should be scared about the Varian and the Tyrande. Like, the slows on Varian are just insane right now. And with a Tyrande lockdown, maybe a polymorph, it could be dangerous on the side of Cruise Control if they get caught out. And that's where the Aegis is going to come into play. I don't think we're going to see the Palm. They could go for the double help on the ETC, but I think we're going to probably see the seven-sided strike again, Jay. More damage-based kerosene.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what Heroes of the Frat wants here. They kind of do need more damage. I totally agree with you on that point. Right now, they are completely losing in the battle of immortal damage. Even with Toronto's Hunter's Mark, there's just no way they can keep up with what they currently have. So possibly a Sonya pickup here. Something that's a little bit more frontline heavy and tanky, but something that's also not too easily blown up, like an Illidan or a Thrall, perhaps. But we'll have to see what they decide to do here. They got that double support on the backside, so they really need something that's got damage. They can't go with a big, beefy frontline tank like a Muradin in this stage. I think they want something frontline, but it's got to have damage. Maybe Alarak?
But with having the Brightwing, they can build Tyrande, and I think they're going to build Tyrande directly into damage, probably picking up that Starfall, basic damage build for her. And, you know, they got Thrall, and I think hopefully they're going to use Sunder this game. Earthquake kind of worked out for them, but, you know, it wasn't that strong, and it didn't turn the tides of battle for them. They just got the picks when they needed.
Yeah, so with that Thrall pickup, it does put them a little bit closer, I think, to the Immortal damage, but Varian, you're probably going to see him going the shield build up front. It's interesting. That taunt can be a really strong tool, especially against somebody like a Greymane that's diving in on a squishy. Really, really good peel for them. But I do think that ultimately they are still losing the Immortal damage, even with that Hunter's Mark, just because of the extra damage that ETC can enable Greymane and Karazim to get, the good damage you get from Li Ming. I think it's a little bit too much, though it's not. With that Thrall pickup, it's not quite as uneven as it was before.
And yeah, as long as cruise control doesn't fail late game, I like their draft. I do like Heroes of the Frat draft, though, man. They got some good lockdown. They do have the burn potential, but I think you're going to see a full damage build off Tyrande. And like I said, I'm surprised I didn't see Vala. Like, Vala being a good mage destroyer, especially on the Q build, where the Q build is strong on this map. And, you know, it's interesting now to see Murden as well.
Yeah, no Vala, no
intense.
No Lunara, no Raynor, no Tychus. Just not going with those heavy auto attack backliners. I think you're right. Tyrande might be filling that role this game on the side of Heroes of the Frat. And speaking of Heroes of the Frat, they are going to be your team on the left, your blue team. And it's going to be Kyle Searat, team captain, going to be playing Thrall once again. Berticus going to be playing Falstad. Sadat is going to be playing Tyrande this match. Marvin going to be up front there on Varian. And Balanan is going to be playing Brightwing.
And on your red side, you have Cruise Control. You got Sky 7 on Ariel, Blunderbuss on Karazim, Acrios on Greymane, Jitty on Li Ming, and Oreo Blaster on ETC. These guys kind of, you know, flexing it up, playing different positions, guys. Let's hear it for these teams. Will this go the distance? Will Cruise Control take this and put it into a game number 5 and make this series super intense? It's already been great. Great matchups, guys. Thanks for coming out. Just amazing games so far. And there's many more to go.
Yeah, this is just the first of these 4 different championship series here today for Chair League. So it's going to be interesting to see what we see in some of those higher division games as well. But we've seen a lot of talent and a lot of big plays coming out here, even just in this Division 3 championship. And right away, we see both teams going to go ahead and push in to their respective lanes. And Balanan struggling to do anything to counter in this bottom lane. But you could say the same for Blunderbuss on Karazim there in the top. And both teams are just going completely ham here. And we do see a little bit of a step back here from Cruise Control as Karazim's going to come up to try, or I should say Akros is going to come in to try and aid in that defensive posturing there from Blunderbuss. Both teams are going to back off a little bit here. But we do still see a little bit of a tough push in here. Falstad going to fly down. Berticus is finally going to proc that retreat mode there. Shatrat going to miss that Lunar Flare as they try and get a ton of damage out on Oreo Blaster. They do have him cornered. Kyle Searat charging in. The Polymorph comes down and is going to prevent him from sliding out in that situation. And that's first blood going over to Heroes of the Frat with that strong rotation to the bottom lane.
The jukes and jives for Oreo, just crazy. Like, when's the last time you've seen a good base race? When have you played in a base race? I was hoping they were going to do it, but sadly enough, we didn't get it this game, Jay.
Yeah, I don't know about base racing in the finals of Chair League. That's kind of rough. But we do see, because ETC's not there, a little bit more of a prioritization rotation here from Heroes of the Frat. They are able to get a pretty big advantage there, over 2,000 health as halftime is going to send each Immortal back to the opposing side. Most teams just tend to collapse on it here. Try and take as much out of the shield as you can if you're on the losing side. And that is indeed going to be the case as Heroes of the Frat winning it by about that same margin that they won in that first phase. Maybe a little bit less. So I don't know. Cruise Control might actually have the advantage overall, but just the rotation and that death early there preventing them from being able to compete for this first Immortal.
Yeah, Jay, you said it real great there. Late on the rotations, you know, Tyrande doing the hunter's mark, you know, they're getting the burn, and you know, the death, they didn't have it. They didn't have it in them for the race, and this is going to take their bottom wall. Not too much of an advantage here, but you know, it is going to get the XP lead. ETC sliding in, super aggressive face melt. The shield on Marvin is proccing, and they are going to be able to escape here.
Yeah, nice response there from Cruise Control. You know, you don't have to win that first Immortal. It doesn't get as much advantage as you do in all the rest of them later on in the game. They do get that front wall in the bottom, so they've got definitely a structure advantage at this point, having both the front walls of both forts down at this point. But we see the rotation here to the bottom lane from Cruise Control. They're going to go ahead and prioritize taking this Causer camp on the bottom. Shaman camp picked up very early here by Heroes of the Frat, but the rotation is coming in. 4 members, they're going to actually, with that barrel roll, be able to get it in time, and the CC is coming down. They're going to be able to take out Ariel here. Acro's going to try and run out, but that charge in from Marvin going to slow him down. He's going to have to back off. But nice steal there, as now they've got both camps in the bottom lane. Huge moment there by Heroes of the Frat to start this one off, as they're going to look to push even more of an advantage in this bottom lane, where maybe the Immortal really couldn't.
And I was scared they weren't going to get the advantage off the Bruisers there. They did grab the Bruisers, and they took full advantage. They came down, Falstad with aggressive fly-in to get on that camp, and they realized, well, we can't take this, the lockdown on Ariel. She's getting extremely blown up, and they're taking that bottom fort in a great play on the side of Heroes of the Frat.
Yeah, that's going to give them this level 7 advantage pretty early. Nothing that Cruise Control can't come back from. They do have a bit of an XP lead here, but that's stored XP in the structures. If we see Cruise Control get a little bit of an advantage later game, they will be able to get that XP back by taking out the structures on the other side. But again, a little bit of a quicker rotation, a little bit more clean for the side of Heroes of the Frat as they collapse on this Immortal. And you can kind of start to see why they decided to make this their map of choice here in this game for Reaper.
And I mean, you're seeing a little bit more even of a race. The rotates were a little bit better by the time Cruise Control, and it looks like, oh, ETC tries to zone, but he gets slowed by Marvin and blown up. And just insane. He tried to zone it, but it was just enough for Cruise Control to take advantage of this.
Oh, but we're not seeing Heroes of the Frat done yet. They're going to get Jitty out there as well, so an interesting moment there. They do kind of send ETC in there as a just kind of as a sacrificial lamb to be able to stall out, to be able to pick up this Immortal. But and then Heroes of the Frat make an interesting decision. They decide to go ahead and kill ETC in lieu of putting their damage out on the Immortal. But no real advantage taken from that Immortal either, as too many deaths with both ETC and Li Ming going down. They aren't able to really rotate and pick up any sort of real siege damage off of that. And so they will remain nearly a full level down here for the side of Cruise Control for now, as again, they haven't gotten enough structure damage to be able to catch up and level just yet.
And in this series so far, Jay, you see Cruise Control, they're good at stealing objectives, good at stealing stuff, but, you know, they pay. They get punished for it, and, you know, right now they have to be scared. Heroes of the Frat coming up quickly on 10. I'm not sure if Cruise Control is going to get their 10 by the next Immortal phase. It is going to be close, Jay.
Yeah, it's a long road still to 10. They are going ahead and trying to pick up this camp. It's sniffed out here by Heroes of the Frat. They're thinking about going after it. The Lunar Flare in there to scout it. Now we're actually going to see Cruise Control wisely backing up off of that. Not going to allow that to be something that Heroes of the Frat can rotate in and steal with those level 10s.
And crazy by Varian, like he's got the taunt now, but he's got the shield wall and live by the sword, and that's like a medieval shield twice in a row. And there is Starfall picked up, Earthquake. You got the taunt, the distant engage with the Mighty Gust, maybe aggressive play, and the blink heal. So this is gonna get crazy. Tyrande doing the damage build, strong with the Hunter Mark, and maybe we didn't give enough credit on the side of Heroes of the Frat. They've obviously been practicing some things before this tourney came out. They had kind of a week to play with Varian, and they're looking pretty good right now.
And again, you look at this rotation, they are just chunking this Immortal down. They are going to have this first one completely uncontested. Half of the Immortal damage completely gone in about the amount of time it took Cruise Control to take out just that one camp. And it's going to be pushing in that top lane while Heroes of the Frat go ahead and back up and take this Immortal. But this is going to be an easy Immortal for them. A full shield Immortal, as just now Cruise Control finally picking up those level 10 talents.
And I'm kind of confused there, Jay. Like, Cruise Control didn't know what they wanted to do on the map. Like, they could at least put some damage, maybe take some shield off the Immortal, maybe get more aggressive. They are on the same talent tier. Maybe the Kerosene pick wasn't the greatest. Maybe they need to come in with another back damage dealer. And you've got everything going out. 7-sided, the Earthquake. Greymane comes in for the go to throat. He's too slow. And this is a crazy battle right now. Everybody's staying alive still.
Ariel having to pop that on herself there as the Aegis keeps her alive just long enough for the rest of the team to rotate across to her and kill her. Kind of a bummer situation there for her as the rest of the team had to back up. But yeah, this is disastrous for the side of Cruise Control. You don't have your healer as they start to push in towards this keep. The Immortal still has half shields as the front wall is down and it starts to set its eyes on that keep. They're trying to catch somebody out in the stun, but nice posturing here from Cruise Control to be able to keep them back at least for the moment. Ariel is back in this moment. Does have the opportunity. 7-sided strike coming in to try and get some serious damage out. They are going to push Kyle C-Rat, and the Immortal almost getting a keep. Not quite, though. Ultimately, not a bad defense from Cruise Control, considering the position that they had been put in there. But still, Heroes of the Frat doing a nice job of pushing advantages where they can, and that top keep is absolutely sneezable at this point.
And Jay, I did like Cruise Control's aggression. When you get the bigger shield Immortals, you want to try to get a pick in the backline before it actually hits anything, just so you force the team off, get the burn on the Immortal, and they zoned it very well. They use their 7-sided strike. Everything. ETC comes in for the slide up throw, and he's completely annihilated. This is the pick they need, Jay.
Yeah, a little bit of a greedy overextension there. The greedy overextension coming in there from Thrall. Again, Earthquake has been picked up. I think maybe these guys know something we don't. And the slide in is going to be able to isolate, and Brightwing is completely blown up. And all of a sudden, Cruise Control is feeling the pressure to be able to really take this game back. And that, like you said, it's exactly what they need. They've started to stagger the deaths over on the side of Heroes of the Frat, and they are slowly starting to also catch up in the level advantage here.
And it's so exciting when you get the momentum swings during the game, like, especially with these two teams. It's been back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's been like a little chess match, and, it's exciting seeing the momentum swing, and nobody's letting up. They're not getting down on, their losses in-game, their battles, and, it's going to be tough for Cruise Control in this Immortal phase, not having that 13. Are they going to take the soak for it? Maybe they're going to get a pick top. Look at this rotate coming in. Control, Falstad, get out in time.
And Kyle C-Rat making a beeline for the other side of the map so he could try and find a safe place to be. That's a very nice move by him. The Owl is not going to be able to scout him out, and he is going to be able to get out safely. Meanwhile, look at the rotation in here from the side of Heroes of the Frat. Of course, they don't have Thrall in on this, but they are going to be able to get this Immortal down to 50% before Cruise Control can really get in here to do anything about it. Yet again, strong rotates, getting them big victories here.
And I think that Tyrande Owl, if that would have hit Thrall, that would have gave Cruise Control more advantage. They would have known there was two top, but they weren't sure what was up there. They knew there was a fall stab, but they weren't quite sure if there was a second.
Now, we do see the full defensive posturing coming out here, but Earthquake is thrown down. Blunderbuss trying to get out of that situation, but Starfall doing work in the middle of that team fight. We also see the stun coming out from the Immortal, not enough to be able to save Greymane's life as he gets completely blown up. And now Heroes of the Frat are on the chase. The taunt onto Sky 7. Gonna be enough to isolate her out. She's gonna get blown up there on Ariel. And just really, really rough exchange there yet again for Cruise Control, as this is going to be yet another full shield Immortal going over to Heroes of the Frat. And I don't know how many lives are left here in the life pool for Cruise Control.
I mean, this is going to be a full shield Immortal, but look at them. They're smart. They're waiting. They're keeping one guy to burn it while they burn their camp. This is going to be crazy. Could they push in for the win? I'm finding Cruise Control is making the awesome ganks in lane, but they're just not doing anything with the Immortals. They're not. It looks like they've just fallen off. Like, you know, they're kind of sinking back into their grave, and I'd like to see them pick up. They kind of had a momentum swing, and then they're like, it just fell off, Jay.
Yeah, they just didn't quite know what to do with that advantage. It's like you said, they were a little bit confused about where Thrall might be. And they've just been very, very slow to try to rotate to these map objectives. Level 16 right around the corner here for Heroes of the Frat. That top keep is down, is going to be pushing in. But 5-man focus here in this bottom as that front wall goes down. Level 16 is picked up. Blunderbuss completely missing on the 7-sided strike. That's one tool they won't have. Oreo Blaster starting to get blown up here. We do see Jitty with the response trying to get the damage out with that disintegration beam. Starfall coming down towards that back line is going to take down the keep. Immortal finally losing its shields. It will hit the ground, but it's starting to go in towards the core. Earthquake coming out, trying to get Blunderbuss isolated. He gets the Aegis just in time to save him, but he's going to have to try and get out of this situation. Stage dive coming in to try and get to Kyle C-Rat, but ultimately they are able to back up and start to damage the core. The core shields are gone. They're starting to go down. The Immortal is going to fall here, but 67% on the core. They are still posturing. They're still trying to get this. Kyle C-Rat goes down as they get that pick out on Thrall. The resets are in, and the backup going on from Heroes of the Frat. They're going to have to retreat without Thrall.
And a great play by Burticus getting that disengage on the Gust. They got what they needed. They now have 2 keeps. Took advantage. You know, okay, they got a death, but you know, ultimately, it's gonna be almost a tie here. Besides, you know, Heroes of the Frat's gonna want to play out this Immortal phrase. They know they're gonna have both lanes pushing. They know they're gonna be on the same talent tier, and you know, they just got to play it smart. They just got to let the minions do the work for them and force them back off this Immortal like they have been doing. Take the Immortal, win the game. Because if they pull another Immortal, they are taking this game, taking the series. This is Cruise Control's life on the line. They need to find something here to get back into this game, Jay.
Yeah, you talk about how many lives are left in that pool for the side of Cruise Control, and I think it's only 1. I don't think they can lose another team fight. Speaking of which, it does look like Heroes of the Frat are going to come in here and force, and they do get the ETC pick out here. Is this the end of the match? They are able to force there before level 16. Blunderbuss completely caught out here. The team can't really do anything about it as they collapse, and they can think about charging into core here. The catapults are starting to stack up on the other side, and I think this might be it. Cruise Control is going to posture up to do what they can to try and save themselves. The Crystal Aegis coming out to try and save Sky 5 there, but ultimately the push is in. Kyle C-Rat putting the Earthquake down on the back end. The shields are slowly starting